I'll look into it. I got a couple days
Because like
before I actually.
I've seen more people stream Super Metroid lately, and that's a great game. But it's also really great to watch. And compared to the original Metroid, it's just less that keeps you as a viewer, especially
Yeah, the
keeps you hooked
original
on that.
Metroid's rough. I mean, it only has, they had the two buttons to work with. There's no map,
They don't tell you
and
shit. There's no map.
there's not. You have
You
no
just gotta
idea, and
figure
everything.
everything out.
All the areas look the same, so it's really tough. One of these days, I feel like I should force myself to
Back in the days, you would
push
fucking
through.
draw your own goddamn map. On the piece
Yeah,
of paper.
exactly. I have
Honestly,
some still
I
saved.
don't
if
believe in paper anymore.
Yeah.
That's what it
if
is.
they just released that exact version with a map, with like the current map system, I would play it.
Yeah.
Because for me, Zero Mission is going to either be a eShop purchase or I have to buy a DS Lite or something so I can play a Game Boy Advance games.
Yeah.
I could get the if the SP. I don't know what the availability is, but anyway, what's up, people? We're back. Happy belated Fourth to us Americanos. Yesterday, actually, my city celebrated it on Saturday, so I was like, thought there was some stuff going on yesterday. There was nothing. They did it all Saturday night. It's like we don't even celebrate it on the day of the actual day. It just seems kind of silly, but
Yeah, that's
I think
interesting.
it's because because it came on a Sunday and people got to go back to work
yeah,
on
but
Monday.
yeah.
I think that's what it was.
So anyway, we're back, and I forgot to mention this because Clocked It was on last week. On Mondays, he's probably not gonna be able to join us for a little bit here. He's been having to go to work on Tuesdays, so if you guys are wondering, who knows how long this will be going on, but we look forward to having him back. I told him I wouldn't fill the spot, so it's just gonna be us five unless he can make it. So. But yeah, let's just get into some video game discussion. We were talking movies before the podcast, but let's just last week we ran out of time. We were talking a bit about the Metroid on the Wii U eShop and stuff, and I seen, was it Nintendo Life or Easy Alloy? I think it was Easy Allies. They were discussing it. I'm not saying they got the idea from us because it's a pretty simple concept to grasp, and they're saying the same thing. There was at least two videos I watched where they're just like, why aren't these available for people on the Switch? Like, why aren't the first four Metroid games in some fashion available on the Switch? I know the 3DS games would be a little bit, the 3DS game would be a little bit trickier, but just why? I mean, it seems like a lot of people want to play them. And Terrell, you were thinking about streaming the very first game.
Yeah.
And let me ask you, how are you streaming Chrono Trigger, by the way?
So, from what I kept hearing from people, because I was originally going to buy the PC version, is that when the PC version released, it had a bunch of fucking issues with it. So, and some of the issues have been fixed, but not all of them been fixed. So the best version people kept suggesting was the DS version. Problem is, and T already knows, the DS version is fucking expensive. So I had to take an L on that one, and I'm using an emulator.
Oh, okay.
What I'm doing on, yeah.
Because I was wondering, I was like, does he have a way to play games on DS and stream it? Because I was gonna say just pick up a copy of Super or Zero Mission for the Game Boy Advance and play it on the DS. But okay.
Well, if it comes to
emulating.
that, I might just emulate the Game Boy Advance version.
I would
It's on
say
the Wii U, yo. It's on the Wii U.
Well, I could do that too, actually.
play Zero Mission over the original game. I think you'll have
Really?
a better appreciation for the Metroid franchise if you start with that. And then you go into Super Metroid, it'll feel, oh yeah, that you can add games to that too. That's true.
Oh, that's true. They give me an
Hey, you
excuse.
can play it on the Wii U. It's on the Wii U. It's right there.
Robert's in the
Yeah.
back. Robert's that one guy.
I gotta
in the
get
back
out of the
where
box
he's
there, Retro. I gotta get out of the
you
box.
can also use the Wii U. The fuck is that? A Wii U. Why?
Yeah, I would love to see you like start with Zero Mission and then Super Metroid.
I mean, I can do Zero Mission. I might throw a poll out on Twitter and be like, which version should I do? Should I do the?
It won't even be close, I bet.
Damn, really? Well,
Yeah.
fuck, I'm gonna make the bitch now while we talking.
That's one thing I wasn't thinking when I traded in my DS Lite for my 3DS is I forgot I was losing Game Boy Advance. As I don't have that many games. I have like 6 or 7, but it'd be nice to go back and play that. But I've been itching to do it. I got to figure out the best option other than the Wii U. It's not the best. The problem is buying it on the Wii U, and I guess I'll have to look into it. But in
So they
Europe,
do that.
in Europe they can't. It's convoluted. You have to go to the online store and buy points or something. And
No, man, I'm telling you,
Yeah, just buy a card.
yeah, like no, even then, like I remember buying the Wii U something not too long ago. It's just normal. I remember.
Would you
Nah,
put your
no,
credit
they-
card in? I thought you couldn't use the credit
I
card.
don't
anymore.
remember.
You
if I'm
can't use
being
your
honest
credit
with
card because they haven't been updating it, so they don't.
Well, would
they don't
you
want people
use your
getting
like
so
an eShop card?
you have to buy an eShop card. That's all.
Yeah.
Does it work? The Wii U, the Switch eShop, and the Wii U eShop
Yeah,
the same?
same ones.
Yeah, it's all
Okay.
one thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to do that. But I've been actually busy playing other games, and I got a couple other games downloaded that I want to start, and it's just like too much at once. Not that they're all new or anything. I'm a little overloaded. So in a probably month or two, I'm gonna start replaying all the Metroid games. But yeah, it's stupid that Nintendo doesn't have. I mean, the NES version of the original game and Super Metroid are on the online, but there's 2 games missing. So, and speaking of the online, I guess was it Furukawa said recently that they're gonna put in some effort to try to make the online more appealing, more fun. What was the exact quote? I gotta bring that up.
I think it was something more fun.
More fun.
Actually.
More fun.
And easier to access on Switch or something. It was weird the way it was worded.
I don't understand why it's so hard.
I mean, it's pretty easy to access. There's a red button on the menu. You
Right.
click.
What is he talking
Nintendo
about?
working on increasing the appeal to make it even more fun and convenient to play. The appeal part, they definitely need to work on. I mean, there's not much appeal to it.
What's the
And
problem with
convenience,
convenience?
they could do. Hey man, add voice chat, just native voice.
That would
chat.
make it more
That's
convenient.
That's convenient. You know.
Yep,
Add
through the
messaging.
system,
Add messaging.
messaging, a way to just send an invite to a friend, OS level. I mean, simple stuff.
Well, wait, Juice.
We've
They already
been
have
doing
it for like
we're doing
3
about
games.
18,
Don't you
19
remember?
years now. So it shouldn't be that hard for them.
And what was wasn't
Even now, we're like comments and voice chat. The way they're probably gonna do it is you're gonna get like Street Fighter 2.99 or some shit like that. Like that's
Wow.
2099.
Damn.
Yeah.
what was I gonna say?
All right, the tweet's up. Bet.
Shit. I was gonna. I had something specifically I was gonna talk about. It's related to the online, but anyway, you got it. Somebody have that up, like the exact.
What, the quote? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
give me a second. I can grab it real quick.
It was just like
There was a bunch of quotes from Furukawa that came out recently. But they were
Yeah,
all
like,
like in the last couple of
Like
days.
Nintendo's been making games for 35 years. That was a great quote.
That was a
Wrong. You're the president.
Yeah, here we
You know how
go.
long you've been making
Working
games?
on increasing the appeal of Switch Online, making it even more fun and convenient to play. Okay.
Was there any details to that?
Let's see. Nintendo stated the Nintendo Switch Online service is September 28th.
Oh, I know what I was gonna say. The app. Wasn't somebody saying that they were gonna like some feature of the app was getting shut down, or
Oh,
Wasn't
yeah,
that, Splatoon?
Splatoon 2's.
Yes, Splatoon 2's.
I mean, what is the Splatoon 2 app just for the voice chat, isn't it? Like
Like for the voice
No.
chat and stuff.
It also
you
shows
can
the
get
weapons.
items and stuff as
Yeah,
well.
you can show
Stats and
items and
weapons.
weapons.
It shows like you could purchase. I think you could purchase the weapons.
Yeah,
through
the
there,
loadouts
then
and everything.
It shows like
essentially
your
unlocks
stats and
on the-
stuff, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
Stuff like
yeah.
that. Yep.
So they're shutting that down. I mean, Splatoon 3's coming out, but at the same time,
Yeah, but that's next year. It's not even halfway.
rest
we
of the
just
a-
got halfway through this year.
the Nintendo Switch Online app by itself is so pathetic when you compare it to the Xbox and PlayStation.
Yep.
I think I have them both. I was using them both, but I think the PlayStation one is like it's like I have no complaints about. It shows your trophies.
I would
It
agree.
shows your messages. You can send messages, receive messages. You can
Yep.
purchase games. You can purchase DLC, or if it's free, and then you can choose to have it download. Like I'm at work, and I'm sure Xbox lets you do that too. And it just downloads while I'm at work. I get home, and the Immortals DLC was ready to go. It's like,
Now,
why can't the Switch app at least do something?
the problem
of
is that
those?
the Switch app isn't meant like PlayStation app to me is like for PlayStation, whereas the online app just feels like it's meant to be for
The
voice chat. I
online.
think Nintendo
Yeah.
needs an app.
It's just meant for voice chat. Essentially.
Yeah, I feel like Nintendo needs their own specific app because
They
the funny
need
thing
a
is that
Nintendo app. They need a Nintendo app. You know.
yeah, because I think their website does some of that. Like if y'all remember the Fire Emblem Fates thing where I bought that game twice, I downloaded that game from the desktop. I bought it from the game store off the website, and it downloaded to my 3DS.
So they already have that. Why don't they just implement that into an app?
They just need it as an app. Yeah, they just need it as an app. They have
the 3DS.
they have those features.
Because then they'd have to invest in a unified system, and they don't want to do that shit.
Yeah. Does the
I haven't tried it
Switch?
on
Does it
Switch.
let you do that with Switch if you what? I wonder if you bought a game.
I have yet to try it on Switch.
But
I wouldn't see why
I
not.
actually didn't know you could do that with 3DS.
Yeah, I only found that out because I wanted the game.
you have to
I was
have it
like-
in standby. You'd have to have your 3DS in standby.
Well, it was at home. Yeah, I was at work, so it was at home, so it was on standby. I usually leave it plugged in, so I was good on
Really?
that front.
So yeah, they got a lot of room for improvement. So we'll see what
Oh,
they
yeah,
do. But
definitely.
they hired somebody like 2 years ago that was like going to be dedicated to the online, working on the online, and they said
They
that
just hired him, man. They just hired him yesterday. They're ready now.
Oh wow,
Now they're
he
ready.
just started coming back into work.
Yeah.
So it's sad. I mean, yeah, it's only $20 a year, especially with the family plan. It's even less, $8 or whatever. It's barely even worth $8. You know, it's like, it's just so pathetic. And I know you guys hate when I send you screenshots and stuff all the time, or you not hate it, but you know, sometimes I start a
I
game,
love that shit.
I send a bunch of screenshots. It's nice that if you reply,
Depends on what it is.
I'm at work. Oh, Retro replied. Oh, he sent a screenshot, and I'm looking at it on my phone. That's like, what? That should be the
Yeah.
standard.
It's cool. Yeah. No,
It's
I agree.
retarded,
It's, yeah, definitely.
and it's in the online itself. You know what can you do? Honestly, what can you do with the online? They still not hype it. They still put out that ad. They just re-uploaded a new ad like a couple months ago.
They always do.
Five amazing features. Play online. It had like child, or what was it? Parent controls, and then it was
I'm not even a part of Switch Online. Yeah.
and
Which
then
is
it
a
was the
separate
Switch app.
by the way.
It's the Switch app, and then it's the bonus special features or like special deals,
Like
And-
Right.
and then the game testing, like you test the games out.
and it's like those are your 4
About
or
to
5.
say, I think the newest thing they did, and it's been some months now, was the whole game trial thing.
Well, they
And-
did a new game trial
I didn't
for
even know
this
that.
month. Did you see that?
Yeah, but the one in America was trash. It's like fucking.
Fuser,
like a-
man. It's Fuser,
Yeah.
dude.
I
didn't
was
play
like,
it.
I was like,
I mean, you
I
know,
was-
I don't play the PS Plus or Xbox either, so
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna download.
I was
this
so
either.
indifferent to it when I saw it. I was like, oh, what? And then I found out Japan got Valkyria Chronicles, and I was like,
Oh, did they?
yeah. And I
that's
was like,
so
yo,
much
you
better,
could.
too.
I didn't even
Yeah,
know
that's
about
such
that.
yeah. They do that occasionally. That's how I play Mario Tennis Aces.
Yeah,
I
they
think-
had Mario's Tennis Aces. They had.
Mario Tennis Aces. The problem I have is that they just
I
don't do
remember.
it frequently enough. It's like one game a month.
Well, they're
I'm
doing
like,
that, and I mean Xbox
And it's only for,
and
like,
Sony
a
been
week.
giving like full
Yeah.
major games away every month. Even though
Even them
this
bitches away.
this month's Sony, the PlayStation one's pretty pathetic. It's Black Ops 4.
Well, no, Plague Tale. I heard
Plague
is
Tale.
really good though.
Yeah, that
I heard
was-
that the game is really good though.
Oh, Plague Tale, good, because I was about to buy that and didn't want to waste the money on that, so I'm good at this free then.
Yeah, might as well.
Oh,
I don't think
free,
it's a game
yeah,
I'll
just
like,
spend
but-
$6.
Maybe I'll check it out.
That's for members or
That's a PlayStation
Yeah, it's
Plus
for
monthly.
members.
Yeah.
There's 3
Yeah.
games. I downloaded that Wreckfest or whatever. I played the very first mission on the lawnmower, and I uninstalled. I was like, this isn't going to be for me. Or I just don't have time.
I heard people thought it was really.
I just didn't have
fun.
time to get into it. I was like,
Yeah.
I have 3 games going at the same
Honestly,
time.
I have a feeling you might get into Plague Tale Innocence. I haven't played it. I heard really good things about it, but it might be one of
I'd
those
wait for
random
that.
ones. Might be one of those random ones that you get into.
Yeah.
I think, from what I understand of it, it's more in the direction of like Hellblade, where it's like a lot of story based with like
Yeah.
minor gameplay in it. It
No,
looks
but
really
it's
fucking
also
amazing.
like apparently like kind of a thriller. I think a horror thriller.
Look at this
Yeah.
guy chugging out of a chugging Kool-Aid
Not
out of a
that light.
gallon.
I'm about that life.
The iced
that's
tea.
old school right there. That's
That's
old.
iced tea.
Okay.
Nice ice tea, man.
I have the water.
Let's
I have the
go.
water.
I was more of an
Okay.
Ice Cube man than Ice Tea, personally.
Actually, I would agree. Ice Cube is better.
So, anyway,
I want-
Nintendo Switch Online's trash. I mean, I seen somebody trying to defend it. I use it all the time. Mortal Kombat 11. I use the voice chat all the time. I'm thinking,
Nah.
really? Like,
I use the online. I don't use
And
necessarily
honestly,
putting the voice
I
chat.
wish what I really wish what they did is they just made online free, and they made it where they made their own subscription free for the NES fee for the NES,
Mhm.
the Super Nintendo stuff like. Just make that the service, you know?
That
Cool. That would be way better. Because people would still get that. A lot of people would still get that. I wouldn't, but a lot of people would. Like, you know?
or
That's
because
just
I know
it.
people wouldn't buy it. That's just reality.
I'm telling you, I think a lot of people would still buy them, man. You'd be surprised.
And
You
the
know,
sad thing is, I don't have anything against the NES Online or Super NES Online model that they're using. The two big issues is that you're not adding enough games to it frequently enough, and you're not adding other virtual consoles. It's
That's
still
my problem with it.
Yeah.
Like I mean, shit like Game Boy and Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
Why is that not part of it?
Game
Well,
Boy Advance 100%
realistically-
should have been.
there's not even that
realistically,
many games, like total,
Yeah.
on there right
It's
now.
an
It's
okay
like
amount. I saw it.
I feel like there's less than 40 games total between the two. Maybe
Nah, I
there's-
don't think
No,
it's
I
that.
think
No,
it's
I
like
think they're
No,
over
it's more than
100.
that. It's more. It's
I think
Is
it's
it?
like 100 or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's more than that.
I
Well, they
remember
keep
were-
adding these-
I remember they said they reached.
They
like
just add
100.
these. The other problem is
No.
that they add these like really obscure
They
games.
keep
that no one
adding
gives a
these
shit about.
really ridiculously like niche, and no one cares about games. It's like, and you don't have all the major games still.
That's kind of what
Yeah.
I like, though. I like the fact that it doing like you got the Donkey Kong Country, and then you got like the really ass weird shit. But it's like you said, it's a great idea. But at this point, after like 5 years, it's still just the basis of an
It's still
idea.
that.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
not building
That's.
off
I
of
think
it.
that's the problem.
While the Wii U had all the by fit. I mean, you're talking about 50 year, and they had every console under the sun other than the
Fucking
GameCube.
double graphics and shit on there.
And so imagine if they had again. That's why like that would be a competent service that people would pay for. They would pay for that if they had essentially what I'm saying is Game Pass for
Yeah,
Nintendo.
DS. I forgot.
What about a virtual
Yeah, there's
console
DS
type
yeah,
Game
there's
Pass
DS on Wii U.
situation?
That's what I'm saying.
A
A
full
type,
virtual
type
console.
Game Pass. People would love that. People would pay for
N64.
They would have to
Um,
put more games on there.
that. GameCube. Literally, you get the Game Boy Advance. You know, I don't know. It'd be tougher when you start to get to the DS stuff because you don't have the gamepad and stuff.
Well, they put DS on. You didn't.
No, they put on. They
But the
put on Wii U.
gamepad was just an option. You could have everything on the TV, if I remember.
It didn't look
Yeah,
great.
you can go TV. You can go both. You can go TV or gamepad only.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the Wii U was.
But it was
more
I don't,
convenient.
yeah, but I
to
don't
do
know.
it.
But the thing is, when it came to like stuff that required like the touchscreen,
Yeah,
you still
you're
had
right.
to use the gamepad in some way. And that's,
Yeah,
the
okay.
DS is so many of those games.
The way I put it is this: I could forgive the lack of DS Virtual Console if you at least gave me N64 and GBA.
Right.
Both of those.
And-
There's no
and
excuse for those
GameCube, We
two.
can't
There's
ignore
none of
GameCube.
GameCube is
We
well.
Well,
can't
no,
ignore
we're not bringing
GameCube.
up-
At this point, we can't ignore.
Well, they're gonna
GameCube.
start-
Well, I'm not saying you can ignore GameCube. I'm just saying the other two already exist. You
Right.
have
And
emulated.
if we're being
you
honest,
have new
we also-
versions of those games.
We can't ignore the Wii. We can't ignore the Wii either.
Right.
It's fucking that console came out when? Like, come on, we can't ignore the Wii. Like, we can't let them
Wii
get
is
away
a
with that.
little bit more
Oh, but
complicated. right?
they scrapped that anyway.
Hey man,
Nobody
Microsoft-
wants a Wii. It's like a
if
dead
Microsoft's here
console.
with the Xbox 360, and do all these emulations, they could have a team over at Nintendo doing backwards
Of
compatibility.
course they could, but
I mean, yeah, you could,
Come on.
yeah, totally.
Come
But
on,
you know
man.
what? But then you get to the problem, because like PlayStation, even outside of PlayStation Plus, they gave us like Horizon, which is like I don't know how old it is now, a few years old and shit. But like the reason why Nintendo
4
doesn't
years.
do that stuff is because then they can't resell you Skyward Sword. It's like why don't you just give that to people? Games
well-
are fucking 20 years old, some shit.
with a
Well,
celebration.
Jesus, no.
I don't quite agree. I think you could. I think for some reason they don't think like you could still sell Skyward Sword, but also put it like on a service, dude. Like you could, people would still pay for either.
or at least
one.
give me, or like just do it as a discount.
Well, just have the
Like, is that-
original Wii
That's
version.
like Game Pass. With Game Pass, you get it, and then you get a 20% discount. Then you could buy it or keep it. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
I would
You know,
say
like
put.
anybody on the online
Nintendo gave
service.
us shit all the time. They gave us free games for when we pre-ordered stuff.
They
That's
used
something
to,
they
yeah.
could do. I mean, maybe not Skyward Sword. Maybe go back a little bit further and give us like
What?
even the Super Nintendo. Yeah, something like somewhere around there.
Good.
But something, you can do
I mean,
something.
remember with the 3DS, they gave us all the ambassador shit, so they still.
Yeah, the ambassador program was amazing, man. Like
Yeah, but in a lot of those cases, well, at least the Wii.
you can't
and
even play those.
3DS.
You can't even buy those games on.
No,
you
PS
couldn't.
right now. Those
Legit,
ambassadors.
yeah, most of
Yeah.
these you can't even do, yeah. That's why it's
It was
just
weird.
kind of
Well, the
like
Super Nintendo Virtual Console's on the new 3DS, isn't it? Am I right? In the new
Um,
Yeah,
Super
yeah.
Nintendo. Yeah.
a decent
So you,
amount of games.
so
Yeah,
you have it on two of your systems, your handheld and your console, and you couldn't put it on your new one.
but that's
That's the
what's
shit that bothers me.
That-
You
it-
don't
Doesn't make any
what
sense.
don't do that.
honestly
Don't
like
fucking
with Nintendo's treasured past. People love Nintendo. People love their history. Out of all three companies that should be having a dedicated backwards compatibility team, it's fucking Nintendo.
Nintendo.
And
Yeah,
it's
I would agree.
ridiculous.
just a
Like
V,
literally,
just
out of
the,
every single company, it's not even close. It
They
should
need
be
to
them that
build-
should be doing that.
they needed to build the virtual console with not tied to a specific piece of hardware. And that was their mistake. Everything was basically ported to the Wii instead of, even though they're emulating stuff, they still had to work on it to have it work on Wii U. It should just work. Any system that's capable of running those games, it should just be able to work. I mean, the Switch should easily be able to run all the virtual console games that they had done all that work to get them on the Wii. I don't know what the technical holdup is for why you can't just have N64 games on a virtual console, even if you pay game by game basis. Play with the Switch Joy-Con or the Pro Controller. There's no reason that they can't have that and shouldn't have that. GameCube, same thing. You'd have the problem with the triggers would cause a problem because they don't have analog triggers, so they'd have, there's a little bit of a compatibility there. You'd have to do some button mapping or something. Maybe the sticks clicking could be the replacement to the triggers clicking. And it's just it seems like I said last week, they seem like they love profit and but yet they're leaving a bunch of money on the table with Pro Joy-Cons. I mean, I think they would sell. I don't know. They're $80 for the regular ones. I don't know what the Pro ones would cost. But
I'd probably end up buying Pro Joy-Cons with like analog triggers. I'd probably buy that.
And some better grips. It's like it just feels like they're leaving money on the table in spots where it'd be okay to say, hey, we're gonna we're gonna have all the original Metroid games available to purchase for $10 each or whatever. Just on the eShop.
The only theory I ever had as far as the reason why they handle their emulation so weirdly is that one of the things I noticed is when the NES and I think the Super NES Classic came out, I remember seeing a bunch of comparisons saying how the emulation, Nintendo had gotten better emulation for those games, but not for the main games. And I'm like, is the difference that you're trying to do that same new emulation style with your older games? But even then, I'm like, you're still dragging your feet like a motherfucker with it because like it's been years.
Well, how do modders make these games look so much better using base code? Where Nintendo can't do that? Like they can't improve.
I don't know.
They can't fix it so Mario 64 doesn't have the super low detailed model when you're just a little bit further away from the camera. Now that it's in higher resolution, they can't turn that off, so it's always the highest level of detail Mario model. Like they can't even do that shit. Like that seems like a piece of code they could type to not have it go down to this really ridiculous low detailed version.
I don't think it's that they couldn't. I just don't think they cared enough to.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that. I never think, and when it comes to Nintendo stuff, I don't think it's that you can't do it. You just don't care about it enough to do it. That's why it doesn't get done.
It's thing, like I said, that they're the most treasured past, and to me, like I would like it. The perfect scenario would you bring back the virtual console, you have them for purchase individual. Because I personally don't want a service, but then you could also have a service, so you pick whatever you want to. You could either purchase them individually, or you could just pay monthly, and you get a bunch of classic Nintendo games.
It seems like guaranteed money maker. That exactly how you described it.
The 100% a guaranteed money maker. Like, are you kidding me? Like, come on. People are always begging for old games all the time now.
Yeah, on Switch especially.
You know what I'm saying? Like you would
it's stuck on the Wii. This what game? Skyward Sword's been stuck on the Wii for 10 years. That's what people are saying.
And legit, if you just did that, you would still make.
Nobody got to play that game.
Stuck. I heard. Even John Linneman, there had DF Retro or whatever, DF Weekly, whatever, and I think it was the Fatal Frame. No, not Fatal Frame. It was before the Wii. It was a Wii game. Maybe it was Skyward Sword. I forget. And he's like, it's stuck on that system. Stuck on that. That's a successful system. How is it stuck?
100 million console.
I don't remember what the
now,
specific
once
game
once
was.
time passes, that's it. Everything's stuck
New
on something, man.
mentality.
Like what?
It's like, yeah, I mean, if they just wanted to release a virtual console up to like the GameCube, I don't think, I just don't think that would be a negative in any way. And it seemed like it would pay for itself. However much money it took to get the games there, I think it would make enough to at least be justified.
Yeah, it would. When you have fucking games like this that cost $350 used,
100%.
people would love to be able to play this game
I would
without
love to know
Yeah.
how
having
much.
to take out a
Mhm.
loan and shit.
Yeah,
How much
you
money
have like that
they made off of
Nintendo.
Pyro,
You have like that Nintendo effect where, like just like the Metroid thing now, it's just it costs Nintendo fucking. People don't need to stop saying, "Oh, it's so much power." No, man, it costs Nintendo nothing to fucking upload a game on like a virtual console thing. Maybe it takes like one of your guys like 2 hours of work. You can't tell me that takes like 5 years of coding to get fucking Game Boy games on the Switch. But like you have like that effect where every time Nintendo releases something like a new game, like what they did with Metroid, everybody in droves goes to that old shit. Because like Robert said, Nintendo has that history. And every time Nintendo releases something new, even if it's just like a Smash reveal, people dive into that history and try to play all that shit again. It's literally like thrown away money.
Well, it's just like, I mean, it's legit just like also with Sony where they're closing down the PS3 store and stuff, and people are like, what the fuck? Hold on, there's so many PS1 games that need to be, preserved in PS2 games. Like that shit's gonna be chaos. And then they had to, all right, we'll backpedal. All right. We won't shut it down right now. And so it's like, yeah, because there's a reason. I'm sure they saw those sales spike during that day, and they're like, shit, all right, we'll ride this out for a little bit longer because I'm sure more people are gonna buy some stuff.
It's similar to when a music artist passes away and then the album's #1 on the charts for like a week or two.
Yeah.
So they can take advantage. But speaking of Sony, we gotta call them out for their just baffling. I don't know if it's weird because the Ghost of Tsushima director's cut. It's baffling that that's 2 games now that are getting director's cut tags for whatever.
Yeah, what are the odds of that?
Like,
what are the odds of that?
you don't think
Why that game though?
Kojima's what he released was what he wanted to release. So him putting director's cut on
He's
there.
just mad it didn't sell well.
That's
That's
just
really what it is.
So for Ghost of Tsushima, I don't understand the director's cut name unless
I don't know
the
how
director
they can-
actually wanted to do something and that he couldn't initially, which I don't. The game had
Just
plenty.
to make it sound significant, so they can fucking charge your ass $70-$60. That's what that shit is about.
yeah,
but-
but for a game, that doesn't really mean much to me. as
Yeah,
much
the
as it really
directors
does
just
for
make it a
movie.
complete edition. But the weird thing about this whole thing is that there hasn't been DLC. This director's cut is
So
basically
what's the point?
has DLC, which it's only $20 to upgrade, so it's basically the price of DLC anyway.
I don't want
but-
to pay you for it.
So
Well, for me and you, it'd
But
probably
if I
be
want
30.
your
then.
DLC, I just want the upgrade.
yeah,
For me and
that's
you,
the
it'd be
thing.
30, right?
Well, if you could do the PS4 version on PS and play it on PS5 for 20.
Oh, okay. You say so, not including the PS5, so you would.
You could just upgrade to $20, and like for me, I think the game looks great. I have no issues
Yeah.
with it.
I get what
It'd be
so
great
you
to
would
have-
just- You would personally just do the.
If I was, I don't know, I'm torn about it because the real problem for me, and you guys give your opinion, I'm fine with, we're gonna have this new version that has new content. You can upgrade your old version for $20. I have no problem with that. Like that would have been fine. The thing is that this is a PS4 game, but now they want to tag on the $10 fee of a PS5 game. So you have 2 identical games releasing, and this is going to happen for Horizon, God of War, all these games I know now is going to happen. This because they didn't do it for Miles Morales. They're 50 on both systems, but now they're like, oh, PS5 version 70, the PS4 version 60. They're identical. That's to me, that's really where it bugs me that they think that this wasn't a built from the ground up PS5 game. It just doesn't sit right with me. That's really the only issue I have with it, other than why didn't you have DLC out earlier for people could just buy DLC and then this director's cut or whatever. The only thing you're getting on PS4 additional is the Japanese lip sync, which should have been a free patch a long time ago. Because everything else is just the 3 or 4 PS5 upgrade visual things and the controllers.
Sony, they already told y'all they ain't making enough money on their first party content. So they gotta find some kind of way to make a little extra change. I mean, this is what they're gonna do. So
At
Get
least,
used
I mean, the one saving grace is that they're adding what looks like a decent amount of content. It remains to be seen how much it actually ends up being.
I'm sure it'll be pretty beefy. I'd be
But
surprised if it's not pretty beefy.
If let's just throw out it. Let's say it's like a 10-hour expansion or something. Like that's reasonable for $20 on its own.
Yeah, I think that's beefy.
But I just don't like this $10 difference between the two identical versions. That's really what the sticking point is for me. Because the game's still $60. I mean, the base game was still $60. It's not like it's been out for 4 years and it's $20. I mean, it's
Really?
still a $60 game.
maybe it was a sale, but my wife tried to buy it for me for 30
Yeah,
bucks.
I thought it was cheaper.
I
by
just
now.
got it. It was on sale for Memorial Day. I got it for 40. I don't know. Maybe that's a new permanent price.
But
But
we saw it for 30.
Let's
But maybe
see.
that was a sale price.
Let's check.
I was checking. I bought it. It's the first time it got a price drop.
For right now, it's. I mean, maybe just because of the director's cut, it's 40 for base PS4.
They might have dropped it permanently, because it says price
at
drop.
at least on Amazon.
On
it
Best
says
Buy it says price drop
$39.88.
$20 off, $39.99. So it makes sense. I mean, that's kind of good that they did that, because it would have been dumb. Like Control didn't do that. They still had the $60 or whatever original version, or for whatever it was, and then they had the Ultimate Edition with the DLC for the same price.
Yeah. Yeah, that
is-
doesn't make any sense.
But I got to give Control the nod over the Ghost of Tsushima, because they did release it for $40. They didn't go back to the full price.
Well, I'm curious, but it's just a price. I see on Best Buy same thing, $40, but it's a save $20 price drop. It might go back up to 60. We don't know. I don't know if it's a permanent. I wouldn't think it would say
Well, at least with unlike Microsoft, Microsoft is training their fan base to not want to not buy new games. So
that.
Well, I've seen a couple comments. Yeah,
I saw that as an argument against Game Pass, and I was just like, come on, man, just say you jelly, you don't like it, but stop making up all this bullshit.
Well, I seen a guy legit tweet. He says, I won't buy a game if it isn't on Game Pass. I'm like, so you'll buy it if it's on Game Pass, but you won't?
Yeah, I'm confused. Why does it
equally as
matter?
dumb. I was like, what?
So do you buy it if it's on Game Pass, or you just play it and you just refuse
That's
to buy
a dumber
games?
reason to buy a game.
Do you refuse to buy games, period, now? I don't know, but...
Why would you buy it if you have Game Pass?
I
Yeah, if it's
don't
on
know.
Game Pass, why would you buy it? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
making
I don't.
sense.
Yeah.
Makes no
I guess
sense.
he probably didn't word it right. He probably just means that if it ain't.
No,
But
he
honestly,
don't
if
know how to
I'm
speak.
If I was
Now,
paying
if
for
you buy
Game
it later
Pass...
down the line, you find it for $20 or something you want to put in your collection. That's different. But if you buy it at full price and you got Game Pass, and it's
I'd
on
say
Game
if you
Pass,
have Game Pass, you're buying games full price, then I'd have to question that
fine.
too. That's just
Yeah, no, that
why are
was-
you paying for Game Pass?
From what I understood from that quote was just that if it's not going to be on Game Pass, he'll never play it in his life.
I think
I
That's
just-
what I understood.
it just said
from
I
that.
Well, that
won't
makes
buy
a
it.
little bit more
He
sense.
said he won't buy it if it isn't on Game Pass.
you are a drone, sir. That's all there is to it.
Oh, you're just fucking stupid. That's where I'm at.
So for me, like if I had Game Pass, I would do what T said. I would play it on Game Pass, and then if I really liked a game later on, I'd try to find a cheap physical
Right.
copy. That's makes the
Or
most
they
sense.
always
Do it.
give you 20% off, I believe so.
And Game Pass, yeah, they give you
Digitally or physical?
off of it.
Digitally.
Yeah.
I think it's digital, yeah.
So I mean, it like I've always said, like if it's a great way to like try out some games, and if you really still like physical games, you can still pay $10-15 for a month, try out maybe a game you're on the fence on, But if you like it, then it kind of tack that money on top of the price of buying it. But or you could just buy it, beat it, and then support if you want to support the developer, pick it up later. There's all kinds of ways to look at it. It's just
Or you could be like, but remember, like the Days Gone guy says, you have to buy fucking day one.
well, someone brought up last week, and I didn't get him to reply to the comment. They said like, "Oh, Sony didn't make a sequel; it sold 6 million." Yeah, but if it sold 6 million when it was, or 5 of that 6 is when it was $20, they're losing money on that. That's not.
No,
They're
but
not.
I don't think it works like that, because if like the stores already got it, like I don't think it's gonna be like if you maybe, but because if Sony themselves decide the game should be 20 in store, like at least the way it works over here, it's like retailers they get the games, and that's why often it says like $60. It's suggested retailer price. Like retailer can make it 20. That's not gonna make Sony lose any money.
That's true, because if they're out there, yeah,
The
you're right.
guy
You're right.
from
I
Days
understood
Gone
it.
the guy from Days Gone specifically, I think he was salty because he wasn't even working there anymore. He was just salty about that shit. And it's like, come on, if 6 million is like a bad number for a sequel, like there's nothing. Sony is just like fucked up when it comes to that.
I don't know though.
These two did 4 million, and they shut that shit down. They don't want nothing to do with this anymore.
I thought someone told me that at certain points they, if a game's a flop, that the developer or publisher, whoever, like they have to buy back inventory and stuff. And that if
I think Sony does have to.
I don't think they just pay full price for it. If they bought a lot of 1 million games, I don't think they're. I think Nintendo and these companies make money off each game sold. I think the place selling it has to share a portion of each game. That's how
They don't sell it for 60 to the companies. The store brings it up to 60, basically. Yeah. So.
And so the store would basically own a percentage on each game. So let's say they would own 5 games of Days Gone copy. I'm just saying something random, They can put it down to 20, so that the store can sell it. They still owe the same $5 if it's 60 or 20.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, like Days Gone, to be honest, must have, if it didn't make them profit, that budget was huge.
Well, I don't know if you remember, that game had 3 or 4 major delays as they were expanding the game.
Yeah, they did.
And like bringing the actors back. So I heard the main voice actor. He was talking about it.
Budgets are like $60 million on their own. A lot of them are. So for a game that big, I'm guessing it was at least 40 million for the marketing budget, and that has nothing to do with the damn game costs. How much you.
Yeah.
So if he said
I think they just had some development issues and stuff. Maybe Sony didn't want to do that again. Plus, they wanted to throw that studio onto some other shit that they probably figured would work more to their liking.
Yeah.
And I know you don't want to hear this, but if I was Sony, I gave them all that time and money, and it's almost factually true. I think it's factually true. It's probably their biggest, like, technically, the game that has the most technical issues from a first-party Sony game. I think they're known. Sony first-party usually you don't associate with bugs, glitches, and stuff like that.
I'm sure they weren't happy with that.
And maybe the studio and whoever was in charge, they just said, no, we're not going to give you another chance, even if it broke even or made a load of money. I don't know. I just kind of, because that's one thing consistently you'll see is people will say, whether they're Sony ponies or not, Sony first party usually expect a certain level of quality to the game, whether you like.
That's up. I mean, like Ben's studio, it's not like not to like. I don't think what you're saying is kind of true, But like Ben's studio, it's not like fucking Naughty Dog or some shit. I think before Days Gone, they did like a Vita game, some shit like that. They didn't have like a massive. They
did Uncharted,
history.
I believe. They
right.
did Uncharted.
But look at who made Returnal.
How smart.
So what did they make before that?
Resogun.
They did
Resogun. So Sony obviously liked what they did compared to what they came from to what they put out, and they obviously bought them and whatnot. So there's clearly something that they saw or they didn't see. And was it Ben Studios?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't mind seeing them with a second chance at that in that universe.
Yeah, I mean, I think they deserve it. I mean, the game has issues, but this is like their first huge game, right? Like so.
Well, also not only that, but apparently that I remember the director saying that apparently Metacritic is very important to Sony, which is a shame. Like that shouldn't be a case.
That's pathetic.
That doesn't surprise me.
And when the Metacritic is low, I'm gonna put in huge quotation marks. Imagine my fingers are 10 feet long. A low of a fucking what? Was it like 7? It's like a 71. For what? For PlayStation. Okay, so 71.
That's pretty
poor
low.
Sony 71. Getting a 71 for one single game, and apparently, I guess that would be pretty big.
I don't know. That'd be interesting if that was true.
I feel like that's not enough.
71 is fine. What I'm saying is pretty low compared to what Sony usually gets and expects. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure.
Because at
the same time, it's like, dude, you can't expect legitimately. You legitimately can't expect the fucking 90, 80s every single.
Oh no, not that
the day you die.
I was surprised. when I saw Immortals was at a 76 on PS5 because I was like, that was back when I was more in that mindset. I've kind of come around on the rating system more to Robert, how Robert looks at it. I got to stop looking at it number associated grade because once you get to an F, that's like 59 and to 0. That's a huge range. So if you look at 50, if you look at 50 being like a C, then a 71, or average, middle of the road game, C minus or something, then a 71 is pretty good. So I've come around.
But you got to remember, man, that the Switch version got a 78.
I know. Like 3 people reviewed it. It had like 4 reviews on Switch and 11 on PS5, and that's it.
Oh, that's why.
It didn't have any Xbox.
The Series X actually is, I think, the
Had a big step.
Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see
The
this.
Series X has. You're gonna be very happy about this. You ready? As an 81.
Really?
Yeah.
They need
Oh,
someone
and
to
the
play
and
all
then
there.
the PC version has a 79.
What?
So
That's
so
weird.
it's a range from 77 to
That
81.
could have to do with technical things, or
No,
Yeah.
I honestly I think it's.
I haven't even heard anyone talk about the PC version.
I didn't even know it existed.
Fine, I'm sure.
Shit.
But getting back on topic, I guess. What was the original? Oh, I was gonna say one more thing about Ghost of Tsushima, and T mentioned it real quick. The PS5, like what is it? Enhanced resolution up to 4K, haptic feedback, and adaptive triggers. And the other thing was the voice sync, because it doesn't have Japanese lip sync. It's all just to the American voices. So if you listen to it in Japanese, the lip sync's completely off. So they added those 4, what I would consider 100% guaranteed should be free updates to a game. There's nothing about that says, oh, they reworked this game. It's a native PS5 app game now, and it's no, you just increased the resolution and added the haptics and lip sync for Japanese. That to me, 100% should be a free upgrade if you have a PS5. The Japanese voice lip sync should be free upgrade for all versions. That should have been done already. Like it's a samurai game, takes place in Japan. The fact that the Japanese lip sync wasn't there day one, I didn't even realize it wasn't. That's just ridiculous. So that just because of those reasons right there, I don't want to support it. Even for $20, as much as I love the game, I'm 26 hours in, and I just did a couple side missions earlier today. I'm just absolutely engrossed with the story and the heartbreak of some of the side quests, and I just absolutely love the game.
Are you enjoying the side quests more than the main stuff though?
No, it's equally. I just usually in a game the side stuff is just skipping cutscenes and just let me just get this because I know it's gonna get me a new
like Horizon
something. Yeah, Horizon. Like I'm just fast forwarding the nonsense. This is just like all really good, well written, well acted stuff. So either way, I like the game. I would love to play more of it in a DLC. I would probably not even thought twice about buying a $20 DLC for the game. It just bugs me that your competition, Square on your system, has free upgrade to Final Fantasy VII, like a major visual upgrade. Like Doom Eternal just came out with a free. It's the PS. You have to re-download it on PS5. I don't know on Series X how it works. If it just downloads additional content or automatically deletes your old version, because it's a brand new install. It's like 60 gigs on PS5, but free. You got the ray tracing mode. You got 120 frames per second mode. Free upgrade. All the Ubisoft games had free upgrades. No extra cost for the PS5 version over the PS4
yeah,
version.
that's true.
Resident Evil 8 just came out. Same price on both systems. I just don't like for taking a PS4 game and having not giving the free upgrades to people who happen to have a PS5 who got who found one and was lucky enough to get one and already have the game. So now you have to pay $30 to get the upgrade. The upgrades are locked behind basically the expansion. Like you can't just get the upgrades without, of course, unless they change something. You have to pay $30 even if you just wanted the upgrades. It's just, to me, that's just bullshit. It's just like I can't.
Yeah, it's not
support
entitlement because people will say, "Oh, you're entitled. You think you're entitled?" They've been doing that on PC for decades now. Like that's something that's just expected. The company will continue to work on their game, and when they have improvements, they'll put them out there for everybody to patch into their game. That's just how it goes. So it's not entitlement.
And they've already done it on PS5 games. Other companies have done it.
Yeah.
It's like I have no issue, honestly. Release the expansion, make it part of the director's cut. Let me upgrade. I have no problem with that. It's just when you have this price gap and you're locking the few minor, what I would consider minor upgrades to PS5. This is not a Spider-Man situation where they had to redo all the textures of all the buildings so they can have reflections and stuff like that. Sound like way more work than just it runs at 4K now. Like that's like toggle. Like just move the slider. It's
I
like
say that but I was thinking I'm a little bit worried because there's a couple of PC games coming out that are supposed to be like, I guess they're adding ray tracing and whatnot, and I don't know if they are going to be like a separate thing because I have I never remember the name of this game ever.
a couple games, PC games, they'll release like a.
Braid is coming soon again. I think they've done some.
Which one?
Braid, that side scroller that really that indie side scroller with the cool
Doing,
Really
ray tracing.
Yeah, and there's the one game with Rutger Hauer that I love, and I can never remember the name of the goddamn game. But that's coming, I think, this fall.
Well, so every once in a while they'll upgrade. They'll do a remaster of a 10-year-old PC
Yeah, but this game is only like 4 years old.
Oh, really?
So that's what makes me worry. Braid is closer to 10, but the game I'm talking about that I can't remember that came out in 2017 if I'm not mistaken. So.
Well, they did it for Crisis. They did like a full-on remaster. It wasn't full price. It was like 20, $30.
Yeah, well, Crisis is again more than 10 years old.
And they reworked. I mean, they went in and they basically ported it, upgraded it. Runs on a new engine, added ray tracing and advanced lighting. So it's like if you compare the original to the new one, it's almost like a remake, basically.
Right.
It's like looking at.
Yeah, that's different to me. But I mean,
and another game that got enhancements recently was Metro Exodus.
Yep.
They did the next gen
Metro Exodus.
Upgrade.
Robert, you can play it with the ray tracing with the DLSS.
I gotta get back into that. I want to do that for sure.
To popping in Doom with all the goodies, the new goodies.
Yeah,
Have you played Exodus T? I feel like you'd like that.
I haven't played Exodus yet.
Yeah, it's on your Series X show. You gotta play Exodus.
Oh yeah, I'm going.
It's crazy because
it's in my cart. It's in my queue.
Okay.
Doom Eternal plays so fast. Like even the difference between the 120 frames per second, and the 60 wasn't that noticeable to me because the characters move so fast and fluid in both. But the ray tracing was more. It's just cool seeing more like the reflection you see. It sounds silly because I remember in Quake when you'd shoot a missile and you'd see the light hitting the walls. That was like the first game I seen do that.
Yeah.
Well, now you're seeing the trails of your shots, your grenades in the reflections of glass or in the puddles, and it just adds just another layer to it. And your gun reflects like the lights and stuff way more. And they actually put in a skin for one of the weapons that I don't have unlocked yet because it unfortunately doesn't have your save progress. I gotta give idsob for some shit because you have to log in. I don't know why I didn't have my my progress on PS4, but there's a gun that's called the ray tracing skin, and it's just it's like a super reflective skin to show it off. But funny. I gotta look at and see if I can upload and download my save file from PS4 because you have to log into Bethesda to play the game, or you don't have to, or maybe you do or don't. I did, so I would like to have my progress there instead of starting from scratch. But either way, there's been plenty of games that have done it for free, even from companies that are usually not good at that stuff, like Square Enix for God's sakes. Has the biggest visual upgrade on PS5 and it's a free upgrade. So
well, that's why even recently on PC with that Lego Builder's Journey, that shit is impressive as hell. And you have the classic mode, and then you have the ray trace mode, and it is night and day difference.
And his bias. Don't listen to him. He's biased.
Speaking of,
you saw it, yo. That shit is legit one of the most impressive games ever.
Speaking of, my neighbor just told me, what is it, Saturday? He goes, yeah, it's looking on Facebook. And this dude was selling a PC he just bought a year ago. It had an i9 Intel is like one of the best processors, hard to find. Has a 2080 Super, and he got it for $1,600. And he's like,
Damn.
"There's some what's wrong with it?" He's like, "Well, I know everybody's trying to sell it for more, but I paid $2, and I used it for a year, so I don't feel right selling it for more than I paid." So he went and looked at it. He's had it. Says it's fucking amazing. He's $1,600. He could easily sell it for $2,000 right now, probably higher, probably like 2,200, because people are paying like $1,000 for that graphics card alone.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And that processor is also like a $800, $600.
That's what I got
processor,
right now, yo. I
CPU.
just looked up. I'm like, what do I have? A i9 99,000.
99K.
That's what I. Yeah.
You got a 2070 Super. 2080 Super is not that much better, but still, I was like, shit, man. If I seen that deal, I might even did it.
Grab it.
If just to make $400 on it, I might have done it.
Oh man.
I could have sold my computer probably for, I'm gonna say $1,400 to $1,600. So I mean,
I'm glad I got my PC when I did, because I'm guessing that shit. It was like, it sounds impossible to get these newer ones. Like,
well, you got the 20 series. There's the 30 series graphics cards are the ones.
That's what I'm saying. It's like ridiculous
get.
to buy those. You can't even get them. They released it and they nowhere to be found.
Apparently, there's more of those than there's PS5s, but I never seen. No, I don't. I know one person who knows a guy who got one of the new graphics cards. Just Newegg notified him and he got it. But anyway. Mr. True asked, who are we bashing today? Well, we were bashing Nintendo Online earlier. Now we're bashing.
I feel like
you missed it. Everybody coming in late.
We've been bashing a lot of people today.
Last week, too, I thought was one of our best podcasts. I didn't know what to title it because we talked about so many things. And I feel like one of the few, I mean, I always think we deserve more views, but that one in particular, I felt, and I re-listened to it for, I think it was like the next day. And I was like, man, that was just like a legit, like, we had a great discussion. It was one of the few times I was like, I really wish, more people would watch it. And I was struggling with trying to title it. I don't know what else. Couldn't think of any better way to kind of sum up what we talked about. Other than
it's your fault, man. You're not hashtagging it right.
I should have hashtagged it. But it was.
You make those thumbnails,
where the algorithm, man.
You need to make those thumbnails where you see all 5 of our hats and we all go like this, like.
The thumbnail game, you got to get your algorithm.
I tried some thumbnail stuff and it didn't seem to help. But anyway, so I got to give Nintendo Life some credit because they had a discussion about, was it Nintendo Life or Easy Allies? I think it was Easy Allies. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think I got confused earlier on something I was trying to think of who said it. But they were talking about this idea that Nintendo's still doing the release a game and then dangle the carrot of free content updates, out there to like entice or keep the game feeling interesting or whatever the reason is. We know why they did it with Smash for Wii U and Splatoon. The games just weren't done. Splatoon, remember the new mode and some other major thing in the August update, and the game came out in May. And then it was revealed all the weapons and maps were already on the disc, and they were kind of trying to. It felt like they were trying to space it out to make that wait for the rest of the game seem smaller because every week you're getting something. And I think it made sense in that situation. It did help the time pass and keep people interested until the major update hit. And I think Smash added, a tournament mode and some other stuff. It added for Wii U.
It was,
that came out a few months later.
Yeah.
And,
a stage builder.
Builder, stuff like that. But now you're on the Switch. We're on year 5, 4.5 years into the system. You release a game. Is it because it's not done, or because they still think that's a good strategy with the Mario Golf having like 6 courses, and they tease the new Donk City one as new content coming? And so they were just kind of had a discussion about, and they did it for Super Mario Party, which 2.5 years later, they added an online update, but they added like 1 or 2 new things in Splatoon 2 did it. ARMS, they tried it. Like, is it still a viable strategy, you guys? Is it necessary in today's age with how successful the Switch is?
I think you guys saying 6 courses, but isn't it like 6 open 18-hole courses.
Yeah, it's 6 18-hole courses, but
But isn't that like massive compared to old games?
I'm not sure. I guess the DS or 3DS
No.
version had more. That's all I know
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, my only thing with Mario Golf, I personally can't call Mario Golf bare bones just for the simple fact you also have the story mode that apparently is like 7 to 10 hours, which is honestly beefier than I thought it would be. I thought that would be 3 hours max, to be honest.
But it's
so,
got
like,
the battles. There's only 2 battle stages and the 6 courses.
battle stage.
And they
But that's what I'm
promised.
saying. The battle stages, a campaign. You play the online. To me, it's not bare bones like that. I wouldn't call it bare bones.
Well, it's
for
focused-
this game
You gotta
specifically.
get into it though, because the story mode, everyone who I know has played the game and are fans say it just feels like a bunch of filler. Like they're being forced to. It's basically, a tutorial. That's what the adventure mode is. It's like a tutorial, and you're basically you're unlocking these courses through doing the adventure mode.
Well,
Yeah.
forget the bare bones part of it and just they're releasing a game.
Like the release strategy.
And then they're like dangling the new, not dangling, but new content being promised coming down the road, and,
Well-
and not just Mario Golf. Splatoon 2, they did it. Arms, they did it. Super Mario
They
Party,
did it
Mario
even
Tennis
in
Aces,
You remember they did in Kirby Star
Kirby.
Allies?
It's like, is it a bad thing or is it a good thing? What do you guys think at this point?
I don't know if it's a bad or a good thing. Again, if the game doesn't have a lot going for it, and then you're dangling shit, because that's a good word,
Yeah.
then that's bad. Like that's outright bad. Now, is it more exciting for me to know day one? Oh, I'm gonna play Mario Golf, and I get New Donk City as a course. I mean, yes, that's way more exciting to me than it's gonna come, because Juice, you even said it, and me and Clock kind of pushed back on you at the time, but now you're right because you were saying, oh, you don't see a lot of Mario-esque, kind of flavor in this game, and I'm like, well, Mario golf games have certain levels that do that, and so we were kind of saying, hold on, it might be in there, but apparently no, there's no Mario-esque levels in there, and New Donk City is a Mario-esque level, and they're saying, oh, you got to wait for that one. Like that, to me, that's bad to me. And again, as a Mario Golf Uber fan, I love Mario Golf games from the beginning. For me to not see enough for me to buy it at this point, to me, that's bad. So
For you, are you saying, hey, I'm waiting until that?
I'm waiting until it's a worthwhile purchase, and I'm still a little bit annoyed because all that extra shit won't be on my cartridge. You know what I'm saying? Like that's still bothering.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
You think it's a situation where it's not done, that course, or they think it's just to keep
I
people
honestly don't
interested
think-
by releasing it later to get them back into the game?
I think they don't have enough confidence in those games anymore, the way maybe they used to. They don't have the same confidence in a Mario Golf or Mario Party, stuff like that, the way they used to. Those would be big, first party games that came out. Maybe they just feel like that's a yesteryear type of thing. Now we have to do these gimmicks to keep you interested. I think that might be it. I don't know.
Well, unfortunately, I always say that we are in a generation where people have no attention span. Like not even short
That's
ones.
true.
They have no attention span. And so a lot of times, if a game doesn't get for some reason new content, they do call it dead within the first 2 weeks.
And that's crazy. But yeah, you're right.
Which is annoying and it's frustrating. And it's one way for them to technically keep the price at $60 or something because hey, there's new content constantly coming out and it makes it feel alive, when in all reality you're just getting a few courses or something. But I don't know, it is weird because I think it depends on the game. And I think honestly Mario Golf could be one where it works. We just gotta see how many courses. If they end up releasing like I don't know if it's just one course at a time, it's just like all right, how many times are you gonna play that one course in a row? You know what I mean? Like. I
think that's a great way of putting it. Like we're living in an age where you have like fucking Fortnite and I don't know, like all those games that have like seasons where they keep giving it content. So it's a way for like people to be like, okay, I know, like it's gonna keep being supported and stuff. But in the end, you have games like Animal Crossing, where I feel like, and I actually would count Splatoon. Now, both Splatoons launched with fucking nothing in it, but in the end, those are the type of games where, yeah, like you want to see those games keep being supported. But when you have something like fucking Mario Golf, it is like a carrot dangling over people, so that because you have that seasonal system. I feel a game like Mario Golf now. I don't have it yet myself, but I'm with Robert. I do not think that a story mode, a single player mode, an online battle mode, and all that. I don't think that's bare bones. I think that's self-containing, and like those games should remain self-containing. Like I want a game like T, I want to have a game that when I buy it, I want to know that my fucking game is on the goddamn card. And I don't want to know, like, oh wait, they're gonna release like New Donk City later, which like it's not gonna be in your fucking card, and it never will be, and stuff like it's like loose floating in the game. And if it's not a seasonal online game and shit, like there's no need for it. And I think it's probably a combination of Nintendo being like, oh, let's get this game out now. We can just add this shit that we're still working on later. Or it's like that, where let's just, keep making like content for a few months so we can keep the sales going.
I don't know. To me, well, Terrell, you haven't said nothing. You just bought the game.
No, I was waiting.
I've been waiting for you.
So, because I recently just bought Mario Golf, and I feel about the way Mario Golf is the way I felt about Aces, where I felt like the games were worth the money. Because the problem is that certain IPs, they kind of lent to what Robert was saying. In today's day and age, you have games that literally just come out and die. And it's, to be fair, most of those games that tend to do that are single player games. But online games especially struggle if you like. That's the reason why fighting games have to put out DLC so much. That's why we're on like, 6 seasons of fucking Street Fighter. Because if you don't put out shit for those games, those games are dead. So Caliber, it's the same premise. I'm very conflicted. I'll be real with you about it, because am I mad that it's getting the free DLC? No, but I also recognize when the main courses that are on the cart is like 6, because then it just feels like either you took the courses out to maintain a sense of.
And do we know that it's not even on the cart? I mean, it could just be one of those.
Well, we don't know. We don't
just
know.
Unlock it.
That better not come out.
It does, but see, well, which is worse? Here's my question: what's worse, it being on the cart and them taking it out to kind of like show updates, or it not being on the cart and it just not being
on
done?
the cart? Definitely it being on the cart.
Both are equal, but.
Well, that's what
worst thing is like, didn't Splatoon do that? Like shit was on the cart and
It's
just like locked it.
That's the problem. Is what happens. Not that it's mostly online. It's all online related stuff. But with Mario Golf, like if that's locked on the cartridge, then that tells me they think that's a good strategy, and it's not. They just want to get the game out and finish the course later. It wasn't quite ready. They still want to get the game out. To me, that's better than just thinking that it's put it on the cart and you have to download a 2 megabyte update to unlock it. That's
part of me thinks that they very much believe it's a viable strategy, and I don't necessarily hate it, because for me it always gave me a reason to come back to a game I'd already enjoyed. I guess I think what the real problem isn't it the fact that they do it. It's the fact that they seem to be doing it for like every fucking major release.
And
if you spaced out which games got, like Splatoon, it never really bothered me because it's a shooter. Those are the.
Well, they did it for Mario Maker as well, which annoyed people.
Mario Maker, I'm like half and half with.
I think Mario Maker's fine.
But they didn't do it the second game.
They definitely weren't done.
They didn't do it the second game though. Like, so that tells me they heard the complaining.
Wait,
but why not for the second game is the question.
I thought they did it. They did updates, the free.
No, I'm talking Mario Maker 1. If you delete your save file and you start playing that game, you have to play it for like 20 days straight. Unlock all the tools.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call that. That's just unlocking. That's
a weird unlocking method.
And people didn't like it, so they didn't do it for the second game, and that's kind of.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
It's still a similar thing instead of just giving. And maybe they thought it was too complicated to give everybody all the tools at once. That's I guess that's a different situation.
The problem is that
I think that's different because that's just like unlocking,
I don't put that in the
unlocking a character, unlocking.
Yeah, but that was for a game that's all about building, and so I'm 12 days in and I start making this awesome level. Now I have this new ability that I'm going to go back and start my level over because now I can add this. Like it was dumb.
I know, but yeah, I feel like that makes sense. I mean, I never
Yeah,
found
but I feel like that got away from the. I thought
That was I realized that's different than the. Than
Oh
the
yeah,
other
that's what I'm
games.
saying. Like I was, yeah. If we're talking about the free update model that they're trying, under the premise, let's just go with the premise that say the game's not finished and they're adding to it. They want to get it out early instead
See,
of
that
having
bugs
you
me
wait.
because you didn't release hardly anything last year. Well, a lot of smaller, a Mario Kart game, camera, RC car, some eShop, Mario 35, a free game, And if you don't have your Mario Golf isn't just ready at its launch, like to me that's incompetence at that point. Like if you plan that course from the beginning and you just ran out of time, like what? There's nothing. No reviewer said anything like super bad about the game, but they all said the same thing. Feels very budget. Feels very double A, single A from Nintendo, and yeah, their sports titles sometimes are like that. I had two different reviewers pointed out the music, the sound sampling is just repetitive, really low quality sound effects. The characters say the same stuff over and over and over. Like it just feels like a very time constraint or budget constraint game from what people were saying. And if that's the case, like why? Like why wasn't everything ready? I mean, unless they just decided to make this game a year ago, why can't you have a fully featured golf game at launch and then maybe all right, let's go with some zany new courses. Let's have you play in Hyrule, just some ridiculous out there stuff that you get as DLC later, like it's not part of the Mario universe, but if we had to give an option for somebody for $5, I want to play in Hyrule, in the Breath of Wild Hyrule. I want to play golf. That to me would entice me to buy Mario Golf. To be honest. So I don't know.
Yeah.
And
I guess all right. Well, maybe when we approach it from this angle, take a look at the games that they've done it with on Switch. By the end of their little update cycles, were they worth the money then?
I don't think for me, Aces wasn't. As someone who bought it and then sold it for $40 or $45 right after. There's nothing they could have added to that game because the core tennis was ruined by these OP characters and these dumb moves. I couldn't get into the game with all these ridiculous over the top. You have somebody clearly beat, you use your smash, the ball goes whizzing by them into the stands, they hit their special, and all of a sudden they can hit the ball back, and it just, to me, wasn't a fun tennis game. I thought Grand Theft Auto 5's
you just
tennis.
didn't like the core.
I thought the tennis in Grand Theft Auto 5 was better than Mario's tennis, Ace's tennis.
Really? Because I was.
I just don't like the gimmicky stuff for sports games like that. I don't know. That's just me.
That's Mario, man. That's Mario.
I heard again from fans that that I trust on the game, and he said to me that it was for him. It was even worse than Ace's mode or whatever.
That was a terrible story mode.
I'm like, it's worse than Ace's. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna hold off, homie. Thanks. So.
And that's what people were excited for with Ace. Oh, we got an adventure mode back. We got a story mode. So it just feels like. And somebody said all games have a budget. And I'm talking a low. When you say a budget game, you mean a low budget. They didn't. With the Switch game selling at least 2 million, you think they could, adjust their budgets for some of these games, and
right.
If you're pretty confident it's going to be a 2-3 million seller, you don't need to put a budget on it that'll make money at 100,000 sales. Like whatever. I don't know if that's true, but I don't know what these game budgets are. It's not like and it's a pretty good looking game. I wouldn't say it's amazing looking on Switch, the golf game.
Yeah.
But I think the new Mario Party looks amazing, visually. And so I don't know. It's just one of those things. I was on the fence about it probably before everybody because I did buy Mario Tennis Aces and the same warning signs were there with Aces. At least I got to try that one. And I was thinking about canceling my pre-order and I just went and picked it up, I just said screw it. I'm just gonna pick it up, and I regretted it. And all the same warning signs, all the same basically signals, all the same kind of reviews saying the same things for both games, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do it again. Maybe later, if they add some courses and some stuff and it becomes a better game, I'll think about it. But
So the name of the game is unfortunate, right? Because we can call it Mario Golf Super Rushed.
Oh man.
T, I feel like T was working on that.
And
T was working on that for at least a minute.
I was watching girlfriend reviews where they were playing the motion controls, and it was a little frustrating because Shelby was like, she was complaining because she couldn't swing, and it's like, I got my headphones on. Well, he's like, take them off and just swing normal, but she was just being stubborn. It looks like the motion controls are actually pretty accurate from what I can tell. I didn't really.
They're really.
And the best thing for me personally is it doesn't make the like the sound effects of the meter, like these super arcadey, like high annoying high pitched like annoying sound effects that I just don't. When I'm golfing, that's just something I don't. That was probably the final straw for me when I saw it had the like this, but the motion swinging actually removes that, and it's like, okay, that I could see myself playing that. I don't know.
There are people. I question some of these people, but there are people that say they needed to go, more wild and more all out, and I'm like, no, Mario Golf wasn't, at least the ones I like.
Mario Golf was pretty balanced about it.
Yeah, they were pretty balanced. It wasn't like over the top. I don't want that shit in my Mario Golf. Like
the rush, the super rush
is
about as much as you need to go over.
Right. And so I question the people who have. I think I saw Game Explainer or somebody say that. I'm like, have you played Mario Golf? Like that was never what Mario.
Oh
Mario
yeah, they
Golf
did say that. I remember.
At pure is pure golf at its base.
Yeah, at the end of the day,
it has bells and whistles and shit, but it's still golf. Like it's a golf game. It's not like over the top.
Yeah, it has its gimmicks.
Mario Baseball on Wii or some shit.
I'd like to see some.
I love Mario Baseball.
More creativity.
I like it for that. I like that for what it is. It's just I don't want that in my golf.
I think in the course themes, I would like to see. Like I kind of agreed with them in that perspective or that context of the themes of the course. Have your just natural environment and stuff, and I think there's a Bowser's Castle at the end is like the sixth one, but you're the Mushroom Kingdom. Why not have a Mario Kart 8 track in the distance or something? One of the 0G. It's just something more interesting. Because from what I could tell, I couldn't really see the difference. They say there's 6 courses. I seen one with trees. I seen a desert theme one, and then the Bowser Castle one. I don't know what other ones the other 3 are. I don't know if they just are similar.
They're unlocked through the story mode, so I don't
know if they look similar or not. And it's just like maybe in that regard, they could go a little bit crazy with just
some more on the aesthetics.
Give me some stuff that I recognize from Mario games in the background or something. To me, that would be a nice little touch.
My biggest disappointment, for at least from what I've heard, again, I don't have the game, is that the music, like Mario Golf music, that is one of my favorite fucking things. And they said the music is pretty standard. And I'm like,
I heard the same thing. It's like, that's what I heard about Yoshi's Crafted World.
Right.
I didn't want to believe it.
Music's
terrible. And that was probably my least favorite part of the game. And I was like, this was one of those I got burned twice. I wasn't going to risk it. I'll see how the game ends up. But, as far as like ARMS, I think that was kind of with new fighters, that was kind of a cool way to, instead of having paid DLC fighters, they had new characters come later. That I think was for that game. I think that was probably a good strategy because I want to pick up ARMS. I want to try this new fighter out. I don't know if that's going to be the same effect with adding a course to a golf game. It's like, but then the single player means the single player doesn't have that course if you're adding it later. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know, it just.
ARMS' only problem to me is that it didn't have story mode.
It didn't have a strong enough base.
Yeah, it didn't. Yeah, that was the only problem with ARMS for me. Other than that, everything else is there. That's why it's so disappointing in a way that it didn't do better.
As someone who went back to ARMS repetitively every time a new character was introduced, I was very impressed with how interesting you could make a character that has the same premise as every
Yeah.
other character.
Yeah.
Like you had characters who had more than 2 arms. You had characters who had fucking masks that could switch on the fly. Like I thought, I'm mad because it's not like Arms did poorly, but I felt bad for a series that Splatoon caught like wildfire, and I think realistically Arms just suffered because of the genre it was in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, they
well,
gave someone
And it also
hit.
came out the same month as Splatoon.
No, it was,
And
yeah,
if you guys
it was-
remember
it was-
that-
That didn't help.
The Last
They didn't give
Fighter,
it
no
room
one
to
even
breathe either.
no one even cared by the time they released The Last Fighter in Arms.
Yeah.
It's like the Doctor.
Nah, which was like, yeah,
yeah,
Dr.
the
Coyle.
doctor.
By the time
yeah.
Splatoon 2
should've-
was out, I don't think anybody even.
I almost wish they would have saved Arms for like 2018 because
Yeah.
that was the year.
I think that
everything
would've-
started to fall
Yeah.
They probably would have done it better.
Yeah, to be
That's,
honest.
it is interesting in hindsight to think. I think they just really wanted as many different types of games out in that first year to.
Oh, they wanted to hit hard.
the
is what it's
sales.
gonna be.
But yeah, in 2018, I think Arms would have had a much
Well,
bigger
yeah.
impact.
Yeah,
That and Fire Emblem Warriors.
that would have been a
No,
good.
Fire
year
Emblem
for
Warriors
Fire
came out a week before Odyssey. It made no
Yeah.
sense.
That was such a stupid decision.
and that's one of those games too.
And I like Fire Emblem Warriors.
They printed a certain amount, and you'll never see it in the store ever again. That's just
Oh yeah, like
Is that
Xenoblade
rare
2.
too?
yeah.
What?
I haven't seen Fire Emblem Warriors in the store 2 years more, probably.
Nah.
Probably 3 years. that
Is
was.
Is it the same boat as Xenoblade?
Torn is like DLC. You know, if you didn't get the card, oh well. It's still you can still download it, obviously, but that's a full-on game. Like that shouldn't be. It sucks that that's hard to find.
Yeah, that's just.
I think they were at the point where they were like, "Well, we made as much as we're gonna get off of this. Stop
Yeah.
printing it." And I was like, "There's more money to be paid. Damn it! Nope. At
Drop
least
the
give it
price.
to the. At least give it to the end of the generation. Jesus
Well, I
Christ!
mean, legit. I
Assassin's
mean,
Creed 4 just got a new reprint. Like, because I had been watching that game on PS4 for like a year because it was way too expensive. It was like $140 or something.
which one got
Just got a
a
reprint. I got it for $40.
Which one
I'm
got a
like-
reprint?
Yeah.
Wait, which
Disaster
one?
Report 4.
Okay. Yeah, that's
on
what I'm
Wii,
saying. Like
it's on
that's why I
Wii.
said there's
It's on
a
Switch,
lot.
but don't buy that one. That frame rate is ridiculously terrible.
Is it?
That's what I'm saying is that like how is it that they release these Arms characters, they release these Xenoblade characters, and then they don't reprint these copies. It's a
I don't know.
big deal.
Swear I saw Arms the last time I was at this, looking at
Arms?
Switch.
Well,
games.
definitely not Xenoblade.
Well,
probably
Xenoblade
was
for
in
sure.
that.
Yeah, gone.
Like Xenoblade, they made him and then they just removed him. That was it.
Somebody's camera just went off because he got a visitor.
Oh, did he?
Oh,
I didn't notice.
Yeah, it was real quick. He was like, "Whoa," he was quick. I give it to
He's
him.
good. Yeah,
I didn't
he's-
notice that either. To be
he
honest.
probably has his mouse hovering over the camera. Turn it off. Or he has it macroed to a key.
Good reaction time there.
He just hit
I
spacebar.
just thought of it. Yeah.
So
When I hear the footsteps, it's fucking immediate. I hear the foot, like my mother stomps loud, so it's like dude. I'm like, oh fuck.
I
That's
saw
up
the darkness.
I
of
know
the-
you saw it.
the door,
I
and
did.
I was like, oh, I know.
He already fucking saw
I
it.
already know what happened.
Fuck me all the way up, dog. One of these days. Also, by the way, the Switch has another update out.
I'm
Oh, yeah.
Another system
You
update.
used to
Another-
record the updates for Switch.
they got to come up
No,
with a
it-
different
well,
term for what they.
American Golf avatars now. I've been waiting for those.
Yeah.
No,
I don't
it's-
think you'll even get avatars. Don't.
It's a little different. So it's the
really?
patch notes say if there is not enough space remaining on the system memory or the micro SD card when downloading a game software update data, you can now delete the old data from the software, enabling you to download the new data. Which I guess I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know what that means either.
I think it's under the premise that if you're, let's say like Smash Brothers had an update, I guess you could delete the old data for it to just download the update. I'm not sure.
And that
The way
doesn't-
it's phrased is weird.
isn't
Doesn't
that
sound like it's a problem.
isn't that a
Yeah.
telling of them being aware of their limited internal memory? That's not a problem if you don't have 32 or 26 gigs of available memory on your system. You don't worry about having to delete because I know Sony and Xbox both have 100 gigs that you can't touch. That's for stuff like that, for recording, for system updates. So you
Yeah,
never
for
have
the
to
OS.
you never have to worry about deleting a current update to download a new update for the same game or system. It's just that's such a silly thing that they had to add.
I'm so curious as to what the next system's storage will be. They can't do another.
They can't do
32.
32 gig. If they do,
They
you
can't.
know, the funny thing is Apple still has 32 gig options.
Oh, do
I
they?
figured by now it'd be 64, 128, but
That's why you don't buy Apple
the 4K
products.
TV, there's 32 and 64 are the two options. And it's only
I mean, hey, in that case, maybe they could still get away with it then. If they'll be like, hey, look at Apple. They still do it. Why can't we?
well, and it's a $20 difference. It's like just get rid of the 32 gig. Like it's so stupid. Unless they just what?
Oh, sorry. I just noticed because Visor Grunt pointed it out. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, just the game itself is super.
Yeah, it is.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's super expensive. Yeah.
That's insane.
Dude, not too long
How much
ago,
is a
a few
used
weeks ago,
copy?
not too long ago, it was almost $100.
Yeah, it's
That's
pretty
crazy.
expensive.
Maybe I'll
The
sell
funny
it
thing
so I
is, you
can
can still
afford a
buy
PS5
arms, though.
game.
I just looked it up. Arms is still 60.
Which one's almost 100? You said, Robert?
Xenoblade 2.
Like the normal game?
The
Mhm.
normal
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, I'd see it for
Some of
90
those
right
are-
Why doesn't Nintendo, after the Smash popularity,
They would reprint
why the
it
fuck
just a
did they
little bit.
reprint?
Reprint the fucking
How
game with
many
all the
mil?
crap.
I
Yeah,
mean, how many hundreds of thousands of copies did they miss out on by not having that game in stock?
Ridiculous. Instead, who gets it? The eBay guys. Like, come on, it doesn't make sense.
This is insane.
It's
Wait,
just
I can
stupid.
buy it.
I'm
wait a minute, I
curious.
can buy it
I'm
for-
curious.
140 for Torna. What the fuck, bro?
I can
You know-
buy it for 70 on
Uncharted
Amazon.
4 came out in what 2016. I'd be curious to see if you could still find a new copy on like
I'm mad I
Amazon.
didn't get Torna.
Oh,
I'm mad.
guaranteed you could.
I wish I bought Toner physically. That's what I wish I
Yeah,
did.
I'm mad I didn't get it physically.
You gotta
I was
remember,
like,
Uncharted
I'll wait-
also is
wait
under
till I
the
finish
greatest
game,
hits.
and then it was
Oh,
too
yeah.
late.
PlayStation hits.
It's just crazy that they run that major first party games they run out of
I
print.
would say wait though. There's a decent chance they'll reprint.
That's,
At least
yeah, I
do
would
it.
say there's a yeah.
Yeah, don't fucking pay these prices. This is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Unless it's a
yeah.
game that's been out for like decades, then I'm like, all right.
Right?
Well,
yeah, then you're screwed.
It went down in price a little bit. It literally like a month ago was at $100 for a copy.
Now it's like
You know, you brought up the next system, Robert. You know, I was thinking about like, is it time to pull out the receipts on all these leakers and predictions that never happened before?
When did you
E3?
ever stop pulling out
But-
receipts? That's my question.
We
That's
should,
my question.
because no one ever just sits. I don't know of anybody who's made a video and just lists all the predictions and what people said that turned out to never happen. And it's
And
like,
what's the percentage they got right?
because where did the Switch Pro talk go? Before I knew it, but there was people who were still convinced. And it's like, you didn't realize this was just part of the usual E3 leak, pre-E3 leak bullshit.
Goddamn year.
You know, it's the Nintendo Direct list got leaked, and it was like everybody jumped on that Switch Pro. Even Digital Foundry was like thinking that they had some information. It's like, okay, well, where the fuck, you know, it ain't coming out this year, I guarantee it. You know, at this point, if it's any kind of, but then in 6 years in, 5 years plus, like it makes no sense. So
When was the last time Nintendo showed hardware at E3? The Wii U? It was the first
yeah,
time.
the new
they-
3DS wasn't at E3. The
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. So,
No, none of those were at E3.
the 2DS, 2DS XL, those are just releases later, you know, videos.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. What else was the Donkey Kong game that was being made by the 3D Mario team? You know, just like
yeah, so far that's
No one-
nothing.
where were the leaks for the WarioWare Advance Wars? What was the
Yeah,
other
so
new
far nothing.
Metroid Dread? You know, people were saying for years there's gonna be a new 2D Metroid. The last couple years, but there was
Yeah,
one
but
other.
that's also bullshit. Like, I mean, anyone.
No
like,
consequences.
you could just say 2D Metroid's coming
I mean, that's hype
because
culture,
Mercury
unfortunately,
Steam
though.
finished Samus Returns. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? No way, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah, no one
like-
predicted. What was the other kind of big, like the new Mario Party with like bringing back the
Mario
map.
Party, yeah, Mario Party with all.
So you're
them.
telling me the only
Uh,
sources these people had knew about games that didn't
Advance
get
Wars?
revealed? I mentioned that one already.
oh, you did.
Yeah. So like none of the stuff that actually got revealed
No
been
Game and
teased.
Watch Zelda, man. You guys don't know about No Game and Watch Zelda? How do you not know that, man?
I think
Come
people
on.
have said that was
Yeah.
pretty obvious. That was probably going to be a thing.
Yeah, but if it was so obvious, how come no one leaked it?
Yeah, no one leaked it, but I heard pre E3 a couple people predicted that before E3, like in their
Oh,
little
okay.
videos. Like,
Okay.
oh, they'll probably do like a Game and Watch like they did for Mario. You know, like where's and we didn't bring this up yet. I guess Nintendo's only been making games for 35 years, right? T, according to the president.
I did say that earlier, but yeah.
Yeah, he said it earlier.
Because we're not in Donkey Kong's 40th anniversary or anything right now. Like, bruh, how do you make that mistake? And somebody tried to, and because I put it on Twitter.
Well, they've been
somebody tried
making
to
video
reflect
cartridge
me by
video
saying,
games.
"Oh, well, they meant working their console." No, he said we're talking about games. A lot of companies make games that don't make consoles, so that's the stupidest rebuttal I've heard. And like, come on, I don't know how you make that mistake.
I don't know if you guys are aware, but Furukawa was quoted saying that Nintendo's been making games for 35 years, forgetting about Donkey Kong's 40th anniversary this year. It's like, it's just a shame, man.
Donkey Kong was the game, it was the game that made Nintendo as a games company. How do you not remember Donkey Kong? Like, come on, man.
That's crazy.
just-
Business model thing, like that again shows he's like a business guy. He doesn't need to know all this shit. He doesn't want to know all this shit. He doesn't really care, like either somebody wrote his script wrong or like he just doesn't know because he just doesn't he probably feels he doesn't need to know. He's there to like make money. That's why we don't have virtual console yet.
Yeah, man.
I don't know. It's just a weird time for me to be a Nintendo fan. It doesn't feel like the same.
Come on, man.
I called it a new era, and somebody tried to challenge me on that. I'm like, it's factually a new era. You have a new president of Nintendo America and a new president CEO of Nintendo Japan.
There's gonna be some difference.
It's a new era. Like, you can't argue or there's no debate. That's literally what it is.
Yeah, no
Whether
Reggie,
you think
no
it's
Iwata.
different or better or whatever, it's just like even a good announcement. I still feel like there's either something negative attached to it, or there's some other announcement later that brings me down. It's like, it's just
Mario Golf. I shit my pants. I was happy to see Mario Golf, and then and it just downhill from there.
I mean, watching me and T's reaction, I was excited for Advance Wars, and then realized it was a remake of the first two, and it's just like
I was
instant,
like, oh, just
Hey, man, you got Metroid Dread. Yeah.
Metroid Dread.
Metroid Dread.
We never even talked about the price. People were trying to say it's not worth $60. I think we mentioned it for a little bit
for a 2D game
because we talked about there is a precedence of high quality 2D games being $40, $30. So I guess I do remember we talked about that last week or the week before, but I seen it pop up again today, whether it was an older video or not. It's like, to me, it's like you could have that debate. I guess that there's arguments being had on both sides, but for me, I'm not going to question. I already pre-ordered Metroid Dread.
It's a brand new 2D Metroid game. We haven't had one in 19 years. You think I'm sitting here squabble about how much it costs? Fuck you.
Well, you know what it is. What else ruined that is the dawn of mobile phones. People love to be like, oh shit, runs on a mobile phone. And then that's 99 cents. Yeah, but a lot of times those developers are losing huge money on putting a thing for 99 cents.
Mm-hmm.
Like
this shit is bare bones and shit.
They're hoping 10 million people download it. That's what they're hoping.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're hoping to strike a big. Like, they're not making money off 99 cents. Like, you kidding me? So it's like that's the thing. They were technically Angry Birds.
It's exactly right, Robert. That's what happened. It's the cell phone era.
It's a gamble. You either you put a game out and you're the next Angry Birds or whatever the gem one is. I forget what it's called, but
Andy or Bejeweled.
Bejeweled. You either those
Candy
and you're a
Crush.
billionaire, or you've wasted $100,000 or something. It's a gamble, and if you hit it, it's worth it. For all the thousands of people who did.
Bejeweled or Angry Birds, so get the fuck out of here.
I mean, I might get Metroid and play it, and it's like a shorter game, and I'm like, it's a good game. Who knows? I'm not saying I can't really judge it until I play it. I could, like, I played Hollow Knight was $15. I felt like even without playing the game, it was already a deal. And then after I played it, it was like that was a hell of a deal. Like that's easily $30, no question. Probably you could probably even go
Minimum?
40. You know, like
Could you, if it was $60, you'd be like, yeah. I
after
understand.
playing it, I would
$60.
say
For me, it starts with okay, $60. Is it a new game? Yes. Okay, now so after it being a new game, $60 is okay for me because that's kind of the standard, right?
Mhm.
That's what we expect. Now, after it being a new game, what do you as a person get out of it? Is it worth $60? Is it or is it not worth it? Like, it's not about the length of it because we've had that debate as well.
Yeah.
It's like, were you fulfilled after you finished playing that bitch? If you were, then and it's worth it, then that's all there is to it.
I wasn't
Well, what-
fulfilled after playing
wait,
the
no.
Goose Game.
Well, here's my well, then, here's
after
my
2
question.
hours.
I knew that was coming.
Well, here's my question: Does that still apply for like the new gen era, like PS5 and Xbox One X, with them being $70 games? Like,
because that's a new standard, right? That's a different. Like, you have to
I
prove
don't
to
even
me.
think it's a new standard.
It's not
Well,
across
yeah,
the board yet either.
Don't
That's the
get
thing.
it
So that's
I'm not saying that's a standard, but that's a new. Now you're doing
Yeah.
something new. Like
Yeah.
you're adding $10. Now you have to prove to me why it's worth 10 more fucking
Mhm.
dollars.
Yeah.
so
And
that
I
does
haven't-
does factor into your
Yes,
purchase.
yes.
Okay, all right.
Well,
That's
because
I've
to me,
always been very different when it comes to that stuff, though. Like, maybe I'm very simple. I don't know, but like,
Oh, we
if
know
I
you're
see
simple.
a trailer of,
Oh!
if I see a trailer of a game and I want to play the game, I know I'll buy the game, and I literally couldn't care less how much the game is going to end up costing. If it's going to be $5 or $60,
$200.
yeah, I'm going to be happier if it's going to be $5. But like, the price is never a factor for me. Like, if you buy a game new, that next month it could be less expensive. You know that if it's a big developer, that it might be more expensive. That shit, in the gaming community. Like, I just don't care about prices in games. Like, if I want to play a game, I'll find a way to play it.
I'm probably the biggest one here that's worried mostly about the length. Not if it's a great game, it's a great game, but Resident Evil 3 is the perfect example. Playing that game, I think I had a longer session than most people. I think it was like 7, 8, 9 hours. Actually, I think I have it.
I finished in like 6.
I paid $15 for the game, and
Pretty
it's
good.
definitely worth more than 15. But compared to the Resident Evil 2 remake, which some people can blow through that in 7 hours, but you have two campaigns, and
Also,
then you
the-
can swap characters.
2 remake is a better game anyway.
So if you play the games back to back, 2 is significantly more content. I'm guessing definitely a longer development cycle, and it just felt like a more complete, full-fledged game. And then you put out a year later the sequel to that, and it's way less content and it just felt like they cut a bunch of corners, and there's no denying it. So to me, that wasn't. I decided right as soon as people said, I beat it in 6 hours. Resident Evil 3. As soon as I found out that it literally could be beaten in 3 hours if you're like an expert Resident Evil player. Maybe I don't know if you skip cutscenes or if you could get through it with cutscenes. I'm just like, I'm not gonna pay $60 for that game because I have the previous game basically set the precedent for what a remake for a Resident Evil game should have for $60, and they didn't even live up to a year later to the precedent they set. So I was really turned off by the length in that particular situation.
Yeah.
Link
Zero
bother.
Mission was like 3 hours. 3, maybe 4 hours. And I would have, if that was a GameCube game, I would have happily paid $60 for that bitch.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been no problem for me. So again, like, that even is not even a new game, but they did so much to it. The original game made its quality of life is through the roof in that game as far as compared to the original, and then, graphically it looks beautiful too. So again, whatever the standard is for the price of a console game, then you work your way down or up from that. I haven't seen any evidence of why I should go up to $10 more yet, but
Yeah, my my whole thing is this. I don't really mind if the game is short if I can look at the game and tell there was effort put into the game.
Right.
Like if it's like, for example, if you took Zero Mission, just to kind of stick on T's example, Zero Mission visually and mechanically looks like almost a completely different game.
Oh,
And because
And
of
there's
that, you're
content,
like,
extra content too.
yeah, it has extra content. So
But-
you could forgive it being a short game because you could visually look and go, oh yeah, they didn't bullshit with this game. It's not like Skyward Sword where you look at it, you go, well, what the fuck is different? Is this the Wii game? Like,
Well, that was the era too where Nintendo games were $10 cheaper than third-party games. So
that's true.
I think it was
Right.
30
They were 50.
in Game Boy Advance, and third-party games were 40. You know,
Yeah,
so
yeah. You mean Game Boy Advance? Yeah.
so it wasn't.
So it's hard to get mad at a game that's already cheaper than the rest.
But having Zero Mission be the same as Fusion, I don't even remember if they were, but a new game versus a remake.
Probably.
I didn't care. I didn't buy Zero Mission. I got it from a buddy. That's why I had to buy a case for it. I wasn't thinking that it was not worth it though. So it's more of a game by game situation, just like with remakes and remasters. I compared many Switch ports to got Shadow of the Colossus was a full remake at 40. The Crash trilogy, 3 games, $40, full remakes. They did it with Spyro. They did it with the racing. I think there was one other.
PS3 on PS3. Those games.
You know,
were
so I
$40.
always judged the price of a
Trilogies.
remake based upon what others were doing, the amount of work, and 40. So if Nintendo was just porting the game from Wii U to Switch and barely changing anything, you know, why is it 60? So there's always different things to judge a particular game on. You know, like Bowser's Fury. You didn't hear me complain about 3D World being 60 because Bowser's Fury looked like a pretty decent extra amount of content that I couldn't really argue against. You know, like I never really complained about that game being 60. So it's just not a across flat. I got to judge all games exactly the same price, length, none of that. It's just all very nuanced, as T would say, and you have to take it game by game. So, you know, we'll see. Metroid Dread comes out, what people say. I have a feeling it's gonna do well review wise and sales wise, and I don't think anybody's gonna be talking about is it worth 60 once it comes out. It's just one of those talking points now as we're waiting for the game to come out.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if
Is it worth 60 or not? It's like people are like, oh, it's not worth 60, but like, yeah, it is worth 60 because Nintendo decided it's worth 60. There you go.
We're not doing that.
Well,
We're not.
That's a
We're not
whole
doing
other
it.
can of worms there, pal.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
go ahead, Robert.
I'm just curious as to this whole $70 thing. If like, because the only people that are really doing it is Sony and was it EA or is it 2K? I think it's
2K.
Well, they both suck, so it's fine. Either way.
It's
Yeah,
like
well.
it's legit. It's legit. Like they're the only ones. Like so far, no one's been really creeping up there.
because there's no
Sony's like,
reason. Because
nah,
they
70.
recognize there's no reason.
That's
to do
why
it. Right.
I was happy to see, I think it was Spawnwave or one of the bigger channels put a poll out about the price of Ghost of Tsushima, the $10 difference. And it was a high percent, like 70% of the people out of like tens of thousands of people voted were saying that that wasn't cool to have a $10 price difference between a PS4 PS5 version of the same game. And I just wish more people would be vocal about it because Sony has shown that they will listen. Brian O'Tonnell, though, he's got a pretty big following. Oh, I'm just so happy, my favorite game of 2020. Now I get more of it, and all the comments were just all positive. Oh, I can't wait to replay this. You know, it's like
Such a shill.
it's like
Fucking guy.
can't you just
He wants his review copy.
you know, like, and we talked about Insomniac quite a bit last week. I'm sorry, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, based on everything I've heard, whether it's content, whether it's the story, whether it's the actual gameplay, isn't worth $70 for me.
What's the
Like,
graphics, Juice?
it's not.
The graphics.
Maybe 40, and
Pretty.
even 40 because I paid
What?
I paid
Damn.
20 for the remake,
God dang.
Brutal.
and I was
I'll at
bored.
least give it 50.
I was
least
bored
50,
by
man.
the story,
These 60.
Yeah, at least get it in the middle.
and
Like,
even
new game, right? It's a new game, so you
Yeah,
gotta
at
get
least
it.
get
I
it.
know, but for me, that's just where $40 I'll consider picking it up. You know?
Damn, that's crazy.
I
I
almost
wonder how long you think it'll take. Because what's
Yeah,
Demon's
probably
Souls
like a
today?
month. If
Well,
that.
actually, Miles Morales is
month.
getting down in
Sony
price.
games don't hold
Miles
their
Morales
value
had
like
a
that.
sale. I don't know if it's.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't know if it's permanent, but like I
I
know
bet by this Christmas it'll be about
Demon's
that.
Because
Souls.
I
yeah,
actually-
usually,
It's not gonna take long.
I would play.
stuff like The Last of Us 2 went down to 30 like real quick. You know, so
Oh,
it's,
the
Yeah,
Ultimate
Sony games don't
Edition.
hold their value like
The
that.
Ultimate
It didn't do
Edition
well, that's
of-
why it went.
The Ultimate Edition's down to
Oh,
50.
yeah.
So you get Miles Morales
Man.
and the remaster for 50 now.
See, that's not bad.
And then
There's a
they
lot of
dropped
controversy.
Miles Morales down to 40. So I'm interested in playing that game. I'm gonna pick it up. I'd for $10 more, I'd probably just go with the Ultimate Edition. But still, $40 for Miles Morales is very short. I think it's like a 10-15 hour if you 100% it. You know, that's for me
Well,
personally.
I heard the
Like
main
me,
thing. I heard the
I haven't
main thing is
played
like setting.
Spider-Man at all. So I'm getting a
That
good
would be the
deal.
way to go right there. 50
Yeah,
bucks.
because you
to
get the remaster.
I'm getting the good. That's what I'm
I
waiting.
still hate that
I'm
the
waiting
remaster is locked behind the fucking Ultimate Edition. That just drives me nuts.
I'm waiting on that to go down, and I'll get that.
And that's what I'm gonna do for the Final Fantasy VII Intergrade. I'm gonna wait till that's $40.
Oh, you'll be paying for that game.
Plus,
for
I
the rest
definitely,
of the next
I'll
2
definitely be
decades.
playing Spider-Man pretty soon. So I'll probably be picking the just the launch edition. I'm not gonna get no Ultimate Edition.
You're not gonna get the remaster.
No,
I don't
mean,
think.
that's-
Well, you've already
you-
played through the
you-
game
look-
twice.
Yeah, I have no plan on replaying that game anytime soon.
Oh, you beat it. That's right. You already played it.
Yeah, I played
Yeah.
it twice. So
That's
I mean,
fine.
Miles Morales. Yeah, I'll pick up for the PS5. It's 40 right now. I mean, you know, it's not bad. It's cool with me.
Yeah.
That ain't bad.
But I haven't noticed. Demon Souls has not ever dropped that I've seen.
Well, I was just looking. Demon Souls actually got a price drop right now. I mean, not
I think it's a
price
4th
drop,
of
it's
July
just-
sale.
Yeah, it seems like it's $50 right now.
See, for me, 50, 60 bucks for a game I really want, no problem. Want them, not 100% sure on. 50s will entice me. 40 will definitely, I'm going to buy. Like Ghost of Tsushima, based on your thoughts on it, I kind of was pushing it off.
Robert doesn't like that game.
And
You
then
can't
I
go by his
finally
thoughts.
gets to 40 and I had a $5
Yeah,
Best
Blasphemy,
Buy
man.
whatever rewards thing. So I got it for 35 and I was like, man, if I paid 60 for this, I would have been perfectly happy. This game is like, I'm loving it. So
Damn, look at this fucking they got a Metro Exodus complete edition PS5 $30. They're giving that game away.
I played it on 1S through Game Pass and it was a
I know you had a
glitchy.
bad
It
experience.
was
with
a glitchy.
unfortunate.
It was all over
I
the
don't
place,
remember,
man.
dude. I legit don't remember any glitches encountering like
Like
that.
it was like characters were like
see.
going like this in a cut scene and like the environments weren't there.
I don't
It was
Maybe.
well, it was the 1S. You know, it didn't really do well with
That's
games
weird, though.
pushing visuals.
It played on
Well,
that
hey,
set.
you know you gotta play on that PS5
Oh God.
I'd-
or the Series X, but also
Series X, boy.
I've been waiting on this because you know I like to pick up an NBA game like once a generation essentially, and they have PlayStation 5 at $20.
I'd get the
Finally,
next
that
one.
That shit's at 25.
I wouldn't.
$20 now.
I'd get the one that's
NBA.
built.
Yeah,
Maybe even two. You might have to wait two more games to get one that's truly built for next gen.
You sure? No, I think
You
this
do?
one.
You do what I do because
I
they've
think
been
the
doing
first
it
one's
consistently
easy.
the last 2 years. Wait till the fucking playoffs. Get that
Yeah,
bitch for $5.
Yeah, they're $5. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well,
then I'll
honestly,
play this season, man.
usually to me, I feel like the very first game of the new generation is usually the one that they just keep for they work on throughout the whole entire generation.
I think they might have had a separate engine for this for 2K basketball, but
Which
let's
one?
see.
2K2 or 2K2, 2K22.
Lenny Wright asked a question, and I
Lenny.
actually agree with this. He says that OJ said a while ago that Sony should hold their prices like Nintendo does. And that's true in a way because then you don't have to worry about buying a game thinking it's going to be $20 in a year, you know? Like that's one of the
That's why I didn't buy some.
And then when you go to if you need to sell it or you didn't like it, you don't have to sell it for $10, you know? So there is positives to it. And you know, Sony fans are just used to waiting for sales. and that's just something they bred that. That's their fault, you know.
That's the lifestyle they would have lived.
I was
That's
telling you
what I
guys not
mean,
that
man.
long ago. PlayStation, a game I bought for a PlayStation system at full price. I think it was like 5 total from PS3, PS4, and now PS5.
Damn, all the way back to PS3 even.
I bought MotorStorm Rift Apart, or was it Rift Apart? Or Pacific Rift. I think that was it was full price, but I think it was only 50. But it was day one price. Last of Us Part 2, Resident Evil 7 and 8, and Resident Evil 2 Remake. Those are the only games I've ever bought for a Sony system and paid the day one price. Everything else I've waited and got cheaper. I mean, that's from PS3. That's since 2006, or I got my PS3 in 2008. So for 12, just over 12 years, I've only bought 5 games at full price on a PlayStation.
Well, the more
I don't
I
have
think
that
about
many.
it,
Yeah, I was saying off the top of my head, PS4. I can only think of maybe 3 or 4 games I bought at full price, which I think was Kingdom Hearts 3, Yakuza, Simran Kagura. Fuck, I didn't even get Resident Evil 2. I think it might just be the 3. Everything else I bought late. I bought Horizon late. I bought Bloodborne late. Like,
That's just.
oh no, Spider-Man. Spider-Man is probably the other one. So probably like.
It's
4
just
games.
crazy. That's the market they've created.
This is the reason why I have never gotten a PlayStation console at launch, because I know that there'll be a revision, and 2, if there's not a revision, there'll be a bundle of older games I want to play. Right now, I'm not really sweating.
There's never any real harm in waiting to buy a system. I mean, it's
that's true.
actually the smarter way to do it. But with Nintendo systems, the Wii was the only one I didn't get, but I got it in January, so like 2 months later. You know, I ain't gonna give anybody shit for waiting till a system has a bunch of games, and you know, I've done that many times, and it's great. You buy the system and you have like a dozen like top tier games to choose from to play at the beginning. You know,
for sure.
but
I mean that's why you have these people have these memories of systems that are like, oh, that was a great launch because it had like 20 fucking games. And you wanted to play probably 4 or 5 of those bitches at launch, like Dreamcast, Super Nintendo. I think Super Nintendo was like the first one that I can remember that was like, oh yeah, I gotta get that right now. N64 was not that, but it had one of the greatest fucking launch titles of all time, so that's hard to pass up. But yeah, like the PlayStation consoles, just in general, have just been piss poor launch systems. Like to buy, the first week or sometimes even the first year. I remember like the bouncer for PS2 and shit. Like just didn't have shit. PS1, I don't even want to, I can't even remember half that shit. Like Jumpin' Jack Flash and shit like that.
The original Xbox or 360 launch was weak because it was
360 was weak. Yeah.
No one was ready for it.
Shit.
No one was ready
They rushed
for it.
it,
It was just a bunch of up-res.
Madden.
And, so I would say,
you had Perfect Dark Zero.
Yeah, Perfect Dark Zero. You had Cameo. So
they did have Perfect Dark and Cameo, but Perfect Dark was trash. So
Cameo was fun though.
I gotta say, this is the first Sony system I bought within 3 years of its launch, and this was I got it in end of March, early April, so that was 4.5 months, and I'm enjoying just because of the enhanced couple games. I was waiting to play Ghost of Tsushima. I was waiting to play Days Gone until I got a PS5, so I was a little more prepared. As far as actual PS5 exclusives, I got Returnal now. But if somebody waited next year, bought a PS5 and Horizon's out, God of War Ragnarok with maybe you're a Ratchet fan, or maybe that's appealing, but it's gonna be cheaper. I guarantee it's not gonna be $70 in some next year. So it does. I'm not gonna give anybody crap. I just really wanted to play a few games and get enhanced 60 frames per second versions of games.
I was in line for PS3 for like 4 days, so I'm not gonna give anybody crap. But I justified it because I was like, great value. I can play PS1, PS2, and PS3 games on that bitch, and I can play Blu-rays, and if you got a justification, fucking buy it. You know, like
Also, Sackboy's $40 if anyone's interested in that. Sackboy's
No.
40.
oh yeah, Sackboy. Forgot about that fucking
That
game.
that to me has the vibes of Yoshi Crafted World. Just
Yeah, it kinda does.
you know, meh
It kinda
game
does.
with some you know, not too challenging looking platforming, and
That'll be
I'll
the
let,
next
I'll let
IP
you
to
know
go to the wayside.
that's the next game I'm playing after.
That's on
Soccer.
PS4 too, ain't it? And so
That's the next game I'm
I
playing.
ain't got to
after.
run on PS5 for that.
yeah, you ain't
I'll let
gaining
you-
much on PS5 with that game either.
There's
I
nothing
will
for
for
me.
Sackboy.
There's nothing for me to go jump and get a PS5.
I don't think the
for.
PS5 version of Sackboy does anything super other than resolution.
Well, yeah,
It
resolution.
really
I don't
looks
know.
like cloth.
When you go from I might be wrong with that, but I could have sworn the base PS4 version was 30, then
Oh, was
Yeah,
it? For a game
PS5
like that? No
version.
way. That game should be 60 on PS4.
I could be wrong. I know Digital Foundry did a video. I forget. I don't remember.
Yeah, just like how Kirby should be like 60 on the Switch. Like sometimes they just don't.
They had to
Oh,
push
Kirby.
and the game looks good, but it doesn't
Yeah, it looks
look good enough to justify 30 frames per second. I didn't think.
No,
It's a pretty clean looking game.
When you look at
it's clean.
It
but
does look really clean.
But when during the demo, I think there's a part where the camera zooms in, whether when you beat a stage or something, and it has that,
was that when they do the Kirby day?
and and you could already see that the resolution of the texture was set just for the zoomed out view. It zoomed in, it didn't really hold up, so it was, you know, where you look at Metroid Prime on Dolphin, and a lot of people are like, you know, this game, you put it in HD, it holds up because that's how high quality the texture work was done by Retro Studios. So like that holds up at a higher resolution. But as much as I love Odyssey, you look at the ground texture on where the T-Rex is sleeping, the first kingdom, and it looks really bad. You know, like that's their way of cutting a corner to hit 60. That's not that big of it. The game still
I
looks
didn't notice
great.
that shit. I was noticing the big fucking T-Rex sitting there sleeping
But
that I could throw my hat on.
You weren't trying, yeah, you
you're
were worried
having
about the
fun.
game.
Worried
You
about
go
the
into
damn
photo
texture on the
mode
ground.
though, and Nintendo's smart. They design, you know, their games are smaller, they're more efficient, and the games look great at the the desired camera distance. But that's how they get away with, and how they can have, you know, Odyssey look as good as it does running at 60, where a lot of other Switch games got to run at 30. It's a worthwhile sacrifice. I'm just saying that's one of their techniques. But Kirby, for example, like I said, I didn't feel justified the 30 frames per second for what it actually achieved visually. Smaller games like Mario Tennis, Mario Golf, but not for. Oh, he's talking about pricing. Yeah, we
he's
didn't.
about price.
Yeah, we went a little bit into pricing. You said you just got back. Not related to the golf games, the sports games, but that is kind of one of those things. I feel like those were always a $10 cheaper game, but correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
There were times
I
where
wasn't around like that.
content and whatnot in those games justified the price. Like they, you know, especially like fucking Toadstool Tour and shit. Even, you know, Mario Golf 64, Mario Tennis. Those games had a lot going for them. You know,
Ultra Smash was
Wasn't that
50 or
50?
60?
I feel like
I think it was 50.
I
That
feel
was
like
it.
the beginning.
I really feel like
For
the
at least tennis
GameCube
games.
and stuff. There was a generation where their sports titles were cheaper than their mainline
It was
games.
GameCube. They were cheaper, but I would have happily paid full price,
Yeah.
man. Because they were full price worth games, you know. It was just, you know, again, a different era that Nintendo did that for.
See now,
their fans
Ultra
back in the day.
Ultra Smash is bare bones, man. We talking about bare
Ultra trash, what it's called. That's
Well, that's the thing about Aces.
It was pretty as hell.
We had
It
the
is
single player. A bunch of people,
super
including myself. All right, they added a single player back, and then I play it, and it's like a couple hours and it's just really
Right.
It's like it felt like Alex said. I think it was Alex said that golf felt like a tutorial. The tennis really felt like a tutorial for the
Alex.
game. Whoever said that about golf, I felt that about Aces. Like, oh, this single player is really just tutorial for, this is how you handle this situation. It didn't feel like a real adventure. It just was small mechanics you were learning. You're facing an AI ghost on a ship, and now you have to deal with the mass of the ship being obstacles. So you got to learn how to work with obstacles on on a tennis court, like that kind of stuff. It didn't really feel like a true adventure, which I don't know what else they could do.
Because I always liked
They could do what they did on fucking Game Boy. That's what they could
Mario
do.
Tennis on the Game Boy had like a story mode, and that was incredible. Like you went to like a school, and like you went to the school, you had to like do the classes, you could like train in the courts, you had like a garden cafeteria, all that stupid shit, and like Mario was kind of like the hero there, so you would never really face those kinds of people in the beginning of the game yet and stuff. Like that was like a fucking adventure, like it got an anime, like you're getting like pro in the school and shit, So it sucks to hear that now it's just like used like that.
Yeah, the game started. You had secondary characters. You couldn't even play with like, Mario or anything yet. You had to open them up and shit. You had to play with like what was the girl's name in the first one? Can't remember her name, but like she was like the
You talking about the human characters?
Yeah, the human character. I think it starts with a P or something. I can't remember. But yeah, like you had to open up like getting Mario and like Luigi and shit. That was a something to do. That was a big thing in the game. So you didn't start with those guys. So the content could be there, but it's just not.
Mario Kart DS had that cool, like what was like a mission based.
Yeah, they need to bring that back.
Like get 20 coin or whatever in a
they
certain
need to
amount
bring
of
Mario
time.
Kart back.
It's my favorite Mario Kart till Mario Kart 8.
Yeah, they.
Yeah.
I was.
Mission
That's
will be
another
awesome.
thing. I think it was the Easy Allies. They were talking about the strategy of releasing free updates, and I forgot to mention this when we were talking about it. They were like the weaponized like DLC, basically. Like, hey, we're gonna use, instead of DLC being like, hey, way to get more money. Now Nintendo's using it as a way. Hey, our game's gonna stay fun longer. We're gonna use this to keep you interested in the game. It was kind of an interesting take, but also they
The
mentioned
word weaponized a little bit intense.
yeah, but I think it was fitting. It was kind of funny, and then shit, I lost track. What was the thing we were talking about before I went off on that? Because I was gonna make. I got so distracted with thinking that. What were we on right before I started that?
Mario Tennis.
Mario
Single player story mode.
Single player story mode.
Yeah, story mode. Damn it.
We're on the podcast for last time I checked.
Getting old, man. Getting old.
I guess roll. Yeah,
I was so focused on when somebody said a word that triggered that what I wanted to say about the weaponized DLC, and then I completely lost track. But either way, we got time's running a little long here.
Look how
and Terrell's all out of focus now.
Camera goes wonk.
Oh shit!
Oh, he's chugging. He was chugging.
Every time you take a drink, your camera goes, "What the hell?"
Chug it.
Come on, damn it!
Now he's on a roller coaster.
There.
You know what to do? I was like, I'm over here.
Either way, whatever it was, I forgot. Couldn't have been that important. So, but we're gonna get out of here. It was a fun podcast, and that 2 hours flew by. I felt like we had another half hour to go, and I just checked the clock. So, but we'll get out of here, and thanks you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Starting to get warm.